Tonight we step into a deep winter cold. Your breath turns white the moment it leaves your mouth. You stand at the edge of a medieval English village. The air pinches your cheeks with a sharp winter touch. Frost covers every thatched roof. Icicles hang from wooden beams sharp as glass knives. Snow is hard under your boots as you walk. You feel the stillness of a world where the sun leaves early. Imagine sleeping. You're on a night below -20. You likely would not survive this. Not without a few tricks. Not without learning how villagers lived before central heating. So before you get comfortable, take a moment. Like the video and subscribe if you enjoy my work. Tell me where you are listening from and what time it is. Now dim the lights and step deeper into the scene. Cold rises around your ankle. Your breath curls like pale smoke. You move farther into the village. Everything feels slow and careful. The air is crisp, every whisper sounds louder. The faint smell of wood smoke drifts between cottages. You hear a low creak as a door moves in the wind. Someone inside checks how much firewood is left for the night. You sense the worry in that simple act. Firewood was always expensive in winter. A known fact from history. Medieval England faced heavy deforestation by the late Middle Ages. This made fuel scarce and valuable. That scarcity shaped every night. It shaped how every family prepared for sleep. It shaped how you breathe as you step toward a doorway. You pause at the entrance of a small peasant cottage. A tiny window glows from inside. The shutters rattle in the harsh wind. You slip inside. The room feels faintly warm. A smoky fire burns low in the hearth. Villagers finish their evening tasks. They eat something thick and hot. Maybe a stew from root vegetables stored before they freeze. You smell the earthy stain from the pot. You stand and watch how careful everyone is with movement. They try not to let too much heat escape. The moment they open the door, cold floods in. Another detail catches your attention. A small bundle rests near the hearth. It looks like twigs, cloth, and something odd. When you look closer, you see it is a warming charm. Some families use dried frog skins or carved wood for luck against winter chills. This strangeness feels both whimsical and desperate. People took comfort wherever they could find it, even if that comfort came from superstition. The family begins to settle for bed. They move slowly. You watch them bank the fire. They pull ashes forward to cover the flame but protect the coal. Banking the fire lets embers last until morning. They press the ashes carefully with a wooden tool. There is a quiet tension to it. Everyone knows if the coals die, the cold will punish them. Historians still argue about the tools used for banking fires. Written records from that time are limited. You lean in and feel the faint warmth from the hearth. It will grow weaker as midnight arrives. You look at the cottage walls. They are made from wattle and daub, a mix of mud, clay, straw, and stones. The surface looks uneven. Wooden beams creak softly with each wind gust. You run your gloved fingers along the wall and feel tiny vibrations. It is not much of a barrier against cold. The people living here know this too. They have stuffed gaps with moss and cloth scraps. This slows the icy drafts. In modern life, you might worry about insulation ratings. Here everything is about survival. Every repair could mean the difference between a tolerable night and frozen fingers. Your breath fogs as you inhale the smoky air. You notice a faint scent of rotting rushes from the floor, mixed with the smell of wool and unwashed clothes. This strange sensory blend brings a sense of closeness. These families depended on each other and their environment. The cold presses everyone into the same space. It turns rooms into ecosystems filled with whispers and tired, shifting bodies. One villager glances at you with a knowing look. Strangers stand out in winter because nothing moves freely. People stay indoors when they can. Animals huddle in barns. Village paths are empty except for a stray dog or someone getting water. You understand how isolation becomes part of the nightly rhythm. Winter sleep is not just a biological need, it is a strategy. You ease into a corner of the room. The weight of your clothing presses against your shoulders. Thick wool scrapes your skin. It is not comfortable by modern standards, but it works. It holds and heat and traps body warmth. It promises some safety. You close your eyes for a moment. Imagine how villagers layered linen, wool, and sometimes fur. You hear the faint crackle of the fire as a coal breaks. A spark flares and dies. The cold changes sound, it sharpens it. Every small noise becomes distinct. Roofed embers pop as frost expands them. A faint whistle slips through a window gap. Someone coughs softly. A baby fusses for a moment, then quiet. You listen to these sounds like a lullaby for difficult nights. Each sound reminds you this cottage is alive. Warmth is a fragile shared effort. You take one final long breath. The air is heavy, smoky, and warm. Only a small fire in the packed room can feel this way. The night ahead will teach you more. It will show you how people adapted to cold. Cold that would send modern sleepers running for heated blankets. You feel your body growing quieter. You wait for the next part of the journey. You stay in the peasant cottage a little longer, then slip back outside into the cutting dark. The moment you step through the door, the cold grabs you. It takes your breath for a second. Snow crunches under your boots as you move. The night sky feels endless above you. Stars glint like sharp bits of ice. Your eyelashes stiffen with frost as you blink. You push forward. You want to understand how people managed to sleep when there was no heating, only a flickering fire. A fire that threatened to die before dawn. You follow a narrow footpath winding between cottages. Every house glows faintly through wooden shutters. These shutters are thin and loose. You wonder how anyone sleeps with winter scraping at the walls. They adapted by using darkness itself as insulation. When night fell, people shut everything tight. They covered shutters with cloth. They relied on the thickness of the dark to slow the draft. Picture yourself inside one of these homes just before sleep. The fire is low, the air is smoky. The room is filled with quiet patience. Winter requires this patience. You slip into the next cottage. The scene is similar, but not identical. Here the hearth is already dying. A few embers glum like small rubies. A woman kneels beside the hearth with a long iron poker. She carefully pushes ash around the embers. She is banking the fire. Her slow motions ensure it will live until morning. This was everyday reality in medieval households. Fire was precious, matches did not exist. Lighting a new flame meant using flint and steel. This method required practice and luck. Keeping the fire alive overnight was the safer choice. The whole evening revolved around that tiny glow. Your eyes adjust to the low light. You notice everyone moves with quiet discipline. It is not theatrical, it is survival. You listen as someone whispers about how many logs are left. Fuel scarcity shapes everything. People used peat-dried turf or dried dung when wood was gone. The smell of burning dung might not be pleasant, but it delivered heat, and heat meant life. A quirky thought drifts in. Some medieval villagers believed certain dung gave better heat, because the animals ate particular herbs. Imagine betting your comfort on what your cow ate. The dim fire throws shadows that sway across the room. You feel those shadows brush your face as you step inside. The cold still creeps in through every crack. It moves around your ankles like a low mist. Even with the fire, the temperature inside could drop shockingly low. Families felt cold that modern sleepers rarely experience. You press your hands together, rubbing warmth into your fingers. You settle near the hearth. The smoky air coats your throat. Someone places a kettle of water near the embers. They are trying to warm it just a little. Enough for a quick wash before bed. Bathing was not a daily routine. A simple warm rinse was a luxury. You watch the steam swirl faintly upward before vanishing. The room seems to hold its breath. Outside, the wind prowls around the cottage. It pushes against the shutters with impatient fists. You notice how the family prepares the sleeping space. They arrange bedding close to the fire, but not too close. Sparks are dangerous. They lay out coarse blankets, woolen coverings, and old clothes. They know exactly where the warmest patch of floor is. You see them moving toward it like instinct. Children curl up first, tucking feet into warm fabric. Adults settle around them in layers. You observe how the family builds heat like a small furnace. Everybody becomes part of the insulation. You feel the way warmth gathers slowly like water filling a cup. They blow out candles, saving the last wax for another night. Darkness falls over the room. The only light comes from the smoldering hearth. You hear one more log crack. The embers' glow flickers. Someone coughs softly. A baby whimpers and quiets again. These tiny sounds shape the rhythm of sleep. When people finally lie down, they do so in a cold, dark, quiet world. A world modern noise can hardly replicate. You focus on the fire again. It feels like the center of the room, the center of life. Your eyes follow the faint red coals. Hours from now, those coals might be gone. The room might drop to the same temperature as the open air. Some historians still argue about indoor temperatures. Evidence suggests both extremes occurred, depending on region, materials, and wind. You sit with that uncertainty, feeling how fragile the line is between tolerable cold and deadly chill. You shift your weight. A stray breeze slips across your face through a wall crack. It carries the scent of frozen earth. You understand why people feared winter nights. Without heating, sleep was not just rest. It was a cautious gamble. Every evening felt like a negotiation with the cold. Would your fire last? Would your blankets hold? Would your breath freeze on the inside of the windows by dawn? You sense how villagers accepted these risks. They had no choice. Another sound rises. The timbers groan as frost tightens them. You hear that deep wooden creak. It feels almost like the house is speaking. You glance up at the rafters where small shadows flicker. A hen flutters on her perch. Some families kept small animals inside for added warmth, not just for convenience. The presence of a few warm bodies shifted the temperature. The closeness of human and animal life is quietly humbling. You breathe in gently, unclose your eyes. You let the cold settle around you just enough to feel it, but not enough to overwhelm you. Use it with the knowledge that these nights shaped medieval life. The cold carved routines shaped sleep pattern. It deepened family bonds. It forced people to think about heat every waking moment. You exhale slowly, letting the smoky air drift past your lips. The night deepens, the fire dims. You wait for what comes next, knowing there is still so much to learn about how people survive the harshest hours of winter. You remain beside the dimming hearth until the last ember glow softens into a sleepy murmur of red light. Then you rise, stretch your legs, and step back into the cold. The air bites the tip of your nose with the same sharp clarity as metal pulled from ice water. You let that cold settle into your coat for a moment, so you can feel the contrast between cottage warmth and the brutal night. It becomes obvious why people learned to rely on more than fire. They relied on each other, they relied on closeness. They relied on the simple truth that a human body is a furnace that never switches off. You follow a narrow path deeper into the village, guided by the crunch of frozen snow beneath your boots. A thin cloud of frost spirals from your breath. Somewhere ahead you hear muffled voices and low laughter. You edge toward the sound, find a slightly larger cottage with a thick thatched roof. The doorway is open just a crack, enough to reveal a soft trickle of light. You slip inside and feel the shift immediately. The room is warm, much warmer than you expect. The warmth is not from the hearth alone. It is from the bodies gathered inside. You feel the heat of their presence, the soft hum of their conversation, the way the gathered breaths raise the temperature. This is the communal warmth trick, the secret medieval villagers relied upon when the cold became too sharp to handle individually. One historical fact supports this. In many parts of medieval Europe, it was common for multiple households to sleep in the same large room during winter, especially in smaller communities. You watch as people settle onto shared bedding. They range straw mattresses, woolen throws, and old cloaks into something resembling a wide nest. Children crawl to the middle, adults flank the outer edges. You see how each person contributes a pocket of heat. You sense how this sleeping cluster becomes something larger than its parts. You are watching a survival strategy disguised as closeness. You also notice the smells that come with it. Warm wool, damp clothing, cooked vegetables, the faint musk of unwashed bodies, all mix into a scent that feels lived in rather than foul. It is the smell of warmth in a cold world. Eamon notices you standing near the door and waves you closer. His gesture is relaxed, almost sleepy. You move toward the cluster and feel the rising heat. Someone hands you a rough wool blanket that smells of lanolin. You drape it around your shoulders. The texture scratches your neck. The warmth, however, builds quickly. The blanket traps your body heat and returns it to you. You sink into that feeling. Another villager, a woman with kind eyes, explains that during the hardest winters people often slept side by side, not out of sentiment but necessity. You picture yourself lying between strangers, sharing breath with people you met only hours ago. It sounds uncomfortable by modern standards, but here it feels natural. The cold does not care about personal space. It encourages people to become a single-layered organism, made of cloth and skin and slow breathing. She leans in and whispers a quirky tidbit. Some households believed sleeping between two warm people could cure colds or fend off evil spirits, spirits that thrived in winter art. They even had a playful term for it in certain regions. They called it borrowing heat. You consider that phrase, borrowing heat, as though warmth itself was a kind of currency, shared among trusted neighbors. You settle beside a small group. Lower yourself onto a straw mattress. The mattress crackles and shifts beneath you. It is uneven and prickly, but surprisingly warm. You feel the heat trapped inside the piled straw. The warmth is faint but steady. You lie back and let your eyes adjust to the quiet glow of the fire at the far end of the room. Shadows cast by the communal cluster move gently, creating a shifting tapestry across the walls. A child beside you murmurs something about a dream. A dream about a giant animal made of snow. Her voice is soft cottony. Her mother shush-s her gently unstrokes her hair. The fire crackles faintly. You hear the wintry wind pressing against the walls. But you're inside this packed cottage. The cold stays outside for a little while longer. You shift your position, adjusting your legs beneath the blanket. Your body leans slightly into the person next to you. They do not mind. No one minds. Everyone understands their role in this nightly ritual. Even the way people breathe feels coordinated. You breathe in, you breathe out, the warmth builds. Then your thoughts drift toward the science of this moment. You sense how heat radiates from each person, warming the air, warming the bedding, warming the shared space. It occurs to you this communal technique is not just cultural. It is a biological hack. In a world without heating body, heat is reliable and renewable. But not everyone agrees on how common this was. Historians still argue whether communal sleeping was universal, or simply a regional habit shaped by tradition. The debate continues, because written records mostly describe wealthier households, leaving everyday practices to interpretation. The noise level in the cottage fades into a soft murmur. A few people whisper quiet stories. Others simply close their eyes and drift into half-sleep. You stay awake a little longer, letting the warm presence of the cluster settle around you. You feel the rhythm of their breaths. You feel the slow relaxation of tired limbs. You feel the contrast between cutting wind outside and this human cocoon. Then someone tucks a large dog into the circle. The dog stretches out, yawns and curls beside the children. The added warmth spreads even more. You watch as the dog nestles deeper into the blankets, becoming another small fire in a room full of tiny furnaces. You let your hand drift across the mattress. The straw is arranged in tight bundles, creating ridges. The mattress warms faster than you expect. Straw traps heat efficiently. That was one secret of medieval bedding. These mattresses were often renewed or fluffed during the day, so the fibers trapped air. Air becomes insulation. People knew this through instinct and trial, not through scientific vocabulary, but through generations of practice. You close your eyes and picture your modern mattress. Then you return your attention to the simple brilliance of straw. A woman adjusts a blanket hanging from a wooden rod above the sleeping space. It falls loosely around the cluster, forming a fabric canopy. This extra layer traps more heat. It reminds you of how modern campers rely on tent insulation. except here the tent is improvised from old sheets and animal skins. The air grows warmer, heavier. Your eyelids feel heavy. You hear quiet breathing, soft shuffles, distant wind. These sounds remind you of the first cottage, but here the warmth shifts the mood entirely. This place feels almost safe, almost comfortable. Your thoughts wander for a moment to how different social boundaries were in this world. Privacy was rare. Bodies slept together, worked together, existed together, in ways modern people rarely experience. Sleep was not an isolated act. It was part of community life. You wonder how many secrets, fears, or friendships grew from nights like this, when people shared warmth and whispered in the dark. Someone beside you shifts their weight. The mattress crackles again. You feel their movement ripple through the group like a subtle wave. You adjust your own posture, tucking your hands closer to your chest. Your breath fogs faintly in cold patches near the floor, but stays warm near your blanket. Then the fire pops. A soft glow spreads across the ceiling beams. You glance upward. Frost glimmers around the edges of the rafters, reflecting the weak light like tiny stars. The ceiling feels closed, the room feels smaller. Everyone here seems wrapped in the same shared dream, drifting together through the coldest night of the year. You breathe out slowly. The warmth around you is enough to lull you into calm relaxation. You no longer feel the bite of winter. You no longer feel the ache in your fingers. You simply feel the slow hum of human closeness. Eventually, you open your eyes again. You know you cannot stay here forever. The next part of the village waits. More secrets of winter, survival linger in the shadows. So you rise quietly, careful not to disturb the sleepers. You wrap the wool blanket around your shoulders one last time. Then you step back into the brittle night air. The cold greets you instantly with its sharp handshake. You inhale, deeply letting the cold reclaim your senses. You feel your warm breath fight against the icy wind. You let the contrast settle into your bones. It is time to move forward. Time to learn what people did after the cluster settled. How the night unfolded. What other quiet strategies kept them alive until dawn. You leave the cluster of sleepers behind, stepping once more into the open night, where the wind feels sharper and more impatient than before. It prowls across the village like a restless creature, slipping beneath clothing and probing for weaknesses. You draw your coat tighter, follow a faint path lit by the pale shimmer of moonlight on snow. The next home you approach looks older. Its thatch sinks a little at the center. Its timber frame leans as if tired of standing. Yet you smell something familiar as you approach the door. Strawed rye straw. A scent that is both dusty and warm. A quiet reminder of how simple materials shaped medieval rest. When you enter, you find a single family preparing their bed for the night. They are spreading layers of straw across a wooden frame, sculpting it into a shape that looks almost like a nest. The movement is rhythmic and patient. You feel the warmth of the hearth only faintly here. The fire is mostly embers, dim and soft, but bright enough to reveal the golden texture of the straw. They do not speak much. Winter nights teach silence. They have done this task so many times. Each motion seems memorized by the hands. You kneel beside the straw bed and reach out. The fibers crunch softly beneath your fingers. They bend, then spring back slightly. Straw is deceiving. It looks crude, but it is clever in the way it traps air. That trapped air becomes insulation. The same principle used in down jackets and modern sleeping bags. You tilt your head, appreciating something. People in this room likely understood through experience, a commonly acknowledged detail among medieval historians. Straw bedding was replaced fairly often during winter. Fresh straw provided better warmth and cleanliness than old flattened bundles. One of the children spreads a thin linen sheet over the straw, smoothing it with small determined hands. After the linen comes a thicker woolen layer, softening the mattress further. You adjust your position, watching the process with quiet fascination. You see how each layer transforms the rough base into something forgiving. You notice the smell too. New straw has its own personality, a little sweet, a little dusty, carrying echoes of summer fields now frozen under layers of frost. As you observe, an old man smiles at you and taps the straw mattress. He gestures for you to lie down just to feel it. You lower yourself slowly, letting your weight settle into the uneven surface. The mattress crackles beneath you, warm in some spots and cooler in others. You shift your shoulders. The sensation is odd at first, but gradually you will understand its charm. The bed shapes itself around you like a loose cradle. Not perfect, but surprisingly comforting in the stillness of winter. The man leans closer and shares something peculiar. He says in some villages families mix aromatic plants into their straw bedding. Plants like nightweed wade into the gritty, the uncertain. They believe the scents kept pests away and encouraged better dreams. It is a small fragment of folklore he passes on with pride. You smile. The idea of a fragrant medieval mattress feels unexpectedly charming, almost luxurious in a world built around survival. You sit up again, letting the straw shift under your hands. The fire sputters, sending a weak glow across the room. You study the scene. Bedding is not just an object here. It is a crafted environment, a place to restore warmth that the day has drained away. You imagine countless nights when families return to this same bed, exhausted from long hours of labor. Winter days were short but demanding. The cold stiffened muscles, food with simple clothing was heavy. Every evening felt like a small return to safety. You run your fingers along the linen sheet. It is coarse and slightly rough against your skin. Most households had limited fabric. Linen was laborious to produce, yet here it lies stretched across the straw, adding a layer of comfort and hygiene. You realize something scholars often emphasize. Even the poorest households invested care in their sleeping spaces, because rest was one of their few defenses against stillness and exhaustion during harsh seasons. You watch the mother shake out a thick blanket made of woolen patches. She spreads it over the bed, tucking the edges tightly. The motion is almost ceremonial, as if sealing warmth into the bedding like a promise. You notice how the blanket carries the scent of smoked lanolin and long youth. It is heavier than any modern quilt. Its weight seems to press winter away. Your eyes wander to the edges of the room. Bundles of rushes lie against the wall, ready to be scattered across the floor. They insulate the ground and absorb cold rising from the earth. A few clay pots sit near the hearth containing warm water for the night. A wooden stool holds a small bowl of dried berries saved from autumn. Every object in the room feels chosen with current purpose. You shift your attention back to the family. They gather on the bed with graceful familiarity. The father lies near the wall, the mother beside him. The children tucked in where warmth is strongest. You see how they wrap themselves in layers of fabric, how they curl inward like sleeping animals conserving energy. The bed creaks softly under their combined weight. The mother strokes the straw beneath her blanket, whispers something to the children. She says the mattress will stay warmer through the night if they lie still and let their bodies sink deeper. She speaks as though passing down a piece of inherited wisdom. You sense she has said these words before on countless winter nights. As the family settles, you think about the comfort level of such a bed. It is not luxurious by modern standards, but it is functional, warm and adaptable. Straw has advantages. It resists moisture, it holds heat, it can be replaced easily. You imagine how the bed might feel after a few hours of sleep, warmed by shared breath, shared weight, shared quiet. You listen to the sounds of the room. The small fire pops occasionally, a child sighs softly. The father shifts, his leg and the straw crackles in response. You hear the wind outside growling and sliding across the roof. The contrast between chaotic weather outside and stillness inside feels almost sacred. This straw bed becomes a small island of warmth in a sea of winter. You glance upward, notice faint flickers of frost forming on the inner edges of the window frame. The cold pushes against the wooden shutters, trying to invade, but the walls hold firm. The bed holds firm, the people hold each other firmly enough. The older man looks at you again and speaks in a low voice. He tells you beds like this were temporary by nature. Straw broke down, it flattened, it needed to be replaced. He adds people sometimes carried bits of straw in their clothes. A little sign that comfort clung to them wherever they went. You like that image, comfort sticking to them like a quiet companion. Then he laughs softly and mentions an odd detail. He says some people believe mice chose the warmest houses based on the scent of straw. Families use this as a humorous way to brag about whose home was cozy tea. It is one of those folk beliefs that reveal personality as much as practicality. You spend a moment in silence watching the family drift towards sleep. The room grows dimmer, the fire sinks lower. The air thickens with steady rhythmic breathing. You feel yourself relaxing again, drawn into their warmth. Even from a few steps away, you stand slowly brushing bits of straw from your clothing. The mattress crackles softly in response. You give the family a gentle nod before stepping toward the door. You brace yourself for the cold waiting outside. When you open the door, winter rushes forward, instantly reclaiming you. The temperature drops sharply. Your breath curls upward in pale ribbons. You inhale deeply, letting the icy air clear your senses. You carry with you the memory of warmth, of straw, of shared sleep. You take a few steps away from the cottage. The snow crunching beneath your heels. The night feels larger again. A new question forms quietly in your mind. If this is how common villagers slept, what other hidden strategies did people use to survive nights like this? You tighten your coat and follow the faint outline of another building, ready to uncover the next piece of winter wisdom. You walk through the biting night again, your boots pressing deep prints into the glittering crust of snow. The sky above feels impossibly clear, as if winter has polished it into a cold crystal dome. Your breath drifts upward in slow curls. You rub your hands together. Think about how warmth becomes a rare treasure out here. A treasure protected by layers of cloth, layers of habit, layers of old knowledge shaped across generations. As you approach the next home, you notice something different about the light leaking through the shutter gaps. It flickers in a softer tone, almost honey-colored. When you push the door open, the first thing you feel is texture. Thick, scratchy, heavy texture wrapping the entire room. Wool is everywhere, hanging from pegs draped across benches folded in dense stacks. It looks like the house is padded from the inside, dressed for winter just as much as its inhabitants are. A woman sits near the smoldering hearth, carding raw wool, with steady motions that sends soft fibers floating in the air, like tiny pale feathers. She looks up, smiles and gestures for you to step closer. You do. The warmth in the room is faint, but it is clear that warmth makes the difference. It holds heat with a stubborn loyalty. It shields skin from cold air. It even muffles sounds slightly, giving the house a gentle hush. You lower yourself onto a wooden stool and take in the details. There is a single wide bed in the room, piled high with woolen blankets. Not thin, decorative ones, but thick, weighty layers woven tightly by hand. You brush your fingers across one. It feels cold but resilient. The lanolin in the fibers creates a faint waxy sheen. The smell is earthy, almost soothing. You observe the family preparing for bed. They move more slowly now, as if winter asks them to save energy. Even in their gestures, the father shakes out a large blanket passed down for years. Its edges are frayed, its center is dense and warm. He lays it across the bed with the carefulness of someone handling a precious object. A commonly accepted detail among textile historians explains this. Wool was one of medieval England's most valuable natural materials, both for trade and for daily survival, because it stayed warm even when slightly damp. That single fact shaped clothing, bedding, and even the economy. You feel it here, you see it, in the quiet pride of the household. The mother hands you a woolen tunic so you can understand its weight. You lift it, surprised by how solid it feels. It seems less like clothing and more like armor against winter. When you press the fabric to your cheek, it scratches, but it also radiates a sense of protection. You imagine wearing it to bed, letting that weight settle over your tired limbs. In this world, weight equals comfort. While you observe the tunic, a young boy wanders over, holds up a tiny wool cap. He pats his head, then hands it to you with a grin. He wants you to try it on. You slip the cap over your head. It fits snugly, covering your ears. Warmth spreads almost instantly. The boy beams clearly pleased. He begins explaining everyone sleeps with caps, because cold air collects near the ceiling and floor, and the head loses heat more quickly than people expect. His explanation is simple but rooted in family wisdom. His father chimes in with a playful detail. He tells you in some villages people believed, sleeping without a nightcap, let winter spirits nibble at your thoughts, making dreams confused or restless. It is a small piece of folklore shared with a laugh, but remembered as part of the seasonal rhythm. The idea lingers with strange charm. You watch as the family settles onto the bed. They layer themselves in wool, starting with lighter blankets at the bottom, heavier ones near the top. The mother smooths the edges so no draft can slip in. You notice how the children naturally curl toward warmth, tucking their feet beneath the thick folds. You sit beside the bed for a moment. Let your hand rest on the uppermost blanket. The heat building beneath feels steady and confident. Wool does not warm instantly, it warms gradually, like a slow-burning ember, gathering heat from the sleepers themselves. Each breath, each shift, each moment contribute to the rising temperature. The father adds another layer, but this time something exceptional. A rich dark wool woven more finely than the others. You run your hand across it, feels smoother, almost silky. He explains this piece is made from the fleece of their best sheep, sheared in late spring, spun carefully woven by his mother. You sense emotional weight in his voice. This blanket carries memory, labor, and hope. Winter has a way of making sentimental objects practical, and vice versa. You glance around the room, notice something else. The walls are draped with rough woolen cloth. This is not decoration, it is defense. Hanging wool along the interior walls creates a barrier against drafts, trapping warm air near the bed. The fabric shifts slightly when wind presses against the exterior timbers. It moves like a soft shield. As you examine the room, the older woman carding wool speaks. She mentions wool garments were often brushed with oils or fat mixtures to improve their ability to repel moisture. She laughs quietly, says the smell could be unpleasant, but the warmth was worth it. You sense her experience in every word. She pauses, her adding tells you something scholars often discuss. Wool was not just for warmth, it also represented stability. It was a resource families relied on, traded with, paid rent through, depended upon for almost every season of life. The wool trade fed entire regions. Even kings measured part of their wealth in fleece. Understanding wool is understanding the medieval world. As the family drifts towards sleep, the room grows quieter. The fire settles into a gentle red pulse. Shadows soften. The wool curtains along the walls ripple faintly, as if breathing with the night. You let your own body relax, absorbing the warmth that seems to float through the room like invisible steam. A young girl pulls her blanket tighter, mutters something drowsy. She hopes the cold does not creep under the door tonight. Her brother reassures her by pulling her closer. Their voices, tired and warm, melt into the air. You sit there in that softness for several minutes. Listen to the faint sound of the wool carder. Hear the faint whistle of wind outside. Hear the bed creak as someone adjusts their legs. You understand in this moment how deeply wool shaped comfort. In a world without heating, it was not fancy, not glamorous, but it was faithful. It trapped body heats, often rough bedding, wrapped children and elders in protective weight, transformed freezing rooms into tolerable havens. Eventually you rise, returning the cap to the cheerful boy. You pull your coat tight, step back toward the door. The woman smiles at you once more, then dims the lantern. When you step outside, the cold hits you immediately, but you carry the memory of warmth with you, like a hidden ember tucked beneath your clothing. Wool survives beyond the fire. It lingers in your skin, your senses, your understanding. You walk away from the cottage, watching your breath drift upward like pale smoke, ready to discover the next way an evil people turned impossible cold into survivable night. You continue through the sleeping village, your footsteps sinking into soft layers of snow that sparkle beneath the moonlight. The cold wraps around you with fresh determination, slipping into seams, untugging at your sleeves. It feels colder now, as if the night has deepened its grip. You hug your arms to your chest, wander toward a larger building near the center of the settlement. The silhouette tells you this home belongs to someone with status. The roof is higher, the timber beams are straighter. A faint golden glow leaks through shutter cracks, in thicker streams than poorer cottages allowed. You sense warmth inside, not thin survival heat, but something richer. When you enter, you feel it instantly. The air carries a gentle softness, the sort that signals privilege. The fire in the hearth is still alive, not merely embers glowing in surrender. Logs burn with patient strength, sending waves of warmth rolling across the room in slow pulses. A subtle scent of beeswax and roasted grain drifts through the air. The floors are cleaner, covered with woven carpets that mute your steps. You take a few more steps inside, letting the warmth seep through your clothing until your shoulders relax. This is a wealthier household, and wealth means options. The difference becomes clear as you lift your eyes to the centerpiece of the room. A magnificent feather bed resting atop a carved wooden frame, elevated proudly above the cold ground. You approach it, slowly drawn to its heightened soft over soft shape. The feather bed looks impossibly plush compared to straw mattresses of previous cottages. Its surface curves slightly, as if welcoming a tired body. A man of the house, dressed in a padded robe lined with fur, notices your interest and gestures for you to come closer. His movements are unhurried. He carries relaxed confidence of someone protected from winter's harshness. When you stand beside the feather bed, he pats it affectionately. You sink your hand into the top layer and feel it yield under your touch. Soft and buoyant, the feathers shift inside, adjusting to your pressure. With a luxurious whisper, you almost expect warmth to bloom immediately beneath your palm. It feels like a small escape from the cold hidden in plain sight. The man explains this feather bed belonged to his father and grandfather. These items lasted for generations when cared for properly. He mentions goose down from well-tended flocks produced the warmest, lightest filling, prized even more than wool by those who could afford it. He tells you something widely noted in economic histories. Feather beds were so valuable, they often appeared in wills, listed alongside land, livestock, or gold. The idea stays with you, a testament to how winter shaped priorities. His wife approaches, holding a linen sheet she has just finished inspecting. The cloth is smooth, finer than most people could ever buy. She spreads it over the feather bed with calm precision. The sheet falls gently, settling into the soft contours beneath. Next, she adds a quilt made of dyed wool squares stitched into patterns. The seams show years of repair. She smooths it fondly, as though tending a beloved companion. Then she lifts a second quilt. You recognize something different in its weight and richness. This one is filled with down as well. When she unfolds it, the fabric drifts through the air with slow grace. You watch how it traps warmth. Almost immediately, she tells you they layer blankets in winter based on the cold. Tonight is especially harsh, so they will use both quilts. You imagine the weight and comfort of lying beneath them. It must feel like sleeping under a warm cloud. A young servant steps into the room, carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. He lays it gently on the edge of the bed. When he unwraps it, you see several small feather-filled pillows, unusually plump and clean. He shakes them briskly, fluffing them to restore their shape. The feathers inside rustle quietly. You catch the scent of dried herbs tucked lightly into the pillow linings. He explains the herbs discourage insects, add a faint soothing smell for sleep. A detail often mentioned in medieval household records. Wealthier families sometimes perfumed their bedding with mixtures of herbs such as rose petals, marjoram, or chamomile. It was not only pleasant but believed to influence dreams. You breathe in, detecting a hint of chamomile lingering in the room. It calms you in a way you did not expect. You step back to observe the entire bed as it comes together, layer by layer. It resembles a miniature hill of comfort in the center of the room, capable of holding heat far better than straw or cloaks. You imagine the owners sink into it each night, feeling their bodies enveloped in softness while winter rages outside. As the couple continues preparing for sleep, the man mentions an interesting dispute scholars sometimes bring up. Some old accounts claim feather beds were kept away from cold walls to prevent feather clumping. Others suggest families place them near interior walls for insulation. He shrugs, gently acknowledging practices varied. Explanations differ depending on region, tradition, and available space. No one can be certain which was more common. You sit on the edge of the feather bed, letting your weight sink into the soft layers. It feels entirely different from straw, wool, or shared warmth. This is deliberate luxury made possible by economic stability. You shift slightly, the bed shifts with you, absorbing motion smoothly. A sense of security settles into your muscle. You understand why such beds were rigid. The mother shows you another item. She brings out a fabric cover stuffed with feathers called a bolster. She places it near the head of the bed. It serves as both back support and a barrier against drafts. You touch it, feel it spring gently beneath your fingers. You admire how each item, each small improvement, builds layers of comfort, transforming the sleeping space into a winter refuge. A girl, likely their daughter, approaches carrying a fur coverlet. The fur is soft and dull. She lays it across the foot of the bed. You brush it with your hand. It feels warm even before anyone touches it. Fur retains heat in a way that seems magical. She tells you on the coldest night she pulls it up to her chin. You picture her sleeping beneath it, safe from icy winds. The father sets a wooden chest beside the bed and opens it. Inside are more blankets folded neatly. He chooses one made of thickly woven wool dyed in deep earthy colors. He spreads it across the bed as the final layer. The structure of the bedding now resembles a fortress, built from comfort rather than stone. The feather bed base supports everything above it. Quilts and blankets lock in heat. The fur coverlet adds protection. The linen sheet provides softness against the skin. You feel grateful just looking at it. Then you notice something else in the room. A small tapestry hangs near the bed depicting a hunting scene. The thick fabric helps block drafts from the wall. Wealthier families often use tapestries for insulation and decoration. The image glows in the firelight. A deer leaps through a woven forest. A hound follows in mid-stride. The colors flicker like living flame. The daughter speaks softly. She likes falling asleep while staring at the tapestry. The shapes blur in dimming firelight and become dreamy. Her mother smiles and gently brushes her hair. You feel a warmth that does not come from fire or feathers, but from family tenderness. As they finish preparing, the household grows quieter. The fire still burns, but its crackles soften. The room fills with intimate calm. You sit on the feather bed, feeling drawn towards sleep by the gentle pull of the quilts and rhythmic breathing. Then you stand knowing you must continue. The father thanks you for visiting. The mother gives a small bow. You step toward the door, feeling the weight of warmth in your clothing. The feather bed lingers in your senses like a soft memory. When you step outside again, the cold shocks your lungs. The wind sweeps across you, urging you forward. You exhale slowly, watching your breath drift upward. The village waits with more secrets, more fires, more beds, more ways humans learn to soften a harsh night. You keep walking. You continue along the silent village lane, feeling the icy wind press against your coat, as if trying to herd you back indoors. But curiosity pushes you forward. You want to know how else people carved out warmth from a world determined to freeze them. Your boots crunch through powdered snow until you reach a cottage that looks different. It is narrower, slightly taller. Its upper floor jutting out over the lower one like a protective brow. A thin trail of smoke leaks from a small chimney. The shutters are closed tight. You sense something unusual inside. When you ease the door open, a gentle pocket of warmth drifts out. It is not as strong as heat in the wealthier home, but warmer than the open room you expect. You step inside and suddenly the layout becomes clear. This house has a built-in sleeping niche carved into the wall. You stare with growing fascination. The niche is like a wooden box stuck into the structure, raised slightly above the floor, enclosed on 3 sides by thick timber. A curtain hangs across the open side. You push the curtain aside. A small compartment reveals itself, just large enough for 2 adults to lie curled within. You smell wall-dry straw, faint lingering scent of herbs. The space feels cocooned, sheltered from draught that wander freely through the main room. A woman seated near the hearth looks up from her mending and smiles. She tells you softly this niche has served her family for 3 generations. You crouch down, run your fingers along the smooth wood of the inner wall. Warm lingers there. You notice the wood seems slightly darker, where years of body heat have soaked into it. Someone added a layer of old wool along the back wall for insulation. You imagine how the small space transforms into a pocket of comfort once bodies settle inside. She invites you to climb in for a moment. When you do, the difference shocks you. Inside the niche, your breath warms the air quickly. The ceiling is low, the space is small. The cold cannot chase you. You feel tucked inside the house itself, embraced by its structure. This is warmth created not by fire or luxury, but by clever design. The family uses the niche like people today use a sleeping bag. You let your hands rest on the warm blanket beneath you, noticing the soft tries of old straw shifting. The woman explains enclosed beds, sometimes called wall beds, became popular in certain regions because houses were drafty and heating fuel limited. A widely repeated detail in architectural history notes. These niches trapped heat remarkably well, especially with thick curtains. They turn sleeping into a kind of retreat from the night. Imagine families sliding inside, drawing the curtain, closing themselves into a warm cocoon, while winter prowled outside. The woman gestures toward the main room. She points out the shape of the house funnels cold air through corners, but never into the niche. The niche sits above the floor where cold settles, but below the roof where warm air escapes. It is positioned exactly where warmth lingers longest. You admire the intelligence behind the design. It shows how architecture adapts to climate, even with simple tools and local materials. She sits beside you, continues mending woolen socks. She mentions when she was a child, she loved climbing into the niche on winter afternoons just to feel how quickly it warmed. She smiles, describes pretending it was a secret cave protected from snow spirits. Her voice is soft, eyes shine with fondness. A little boy runs over, crawls into the niche beside you. He sits down, a small wooden horse carved from oak. He tells you this is his favorite place, because the niche feels like it hugs him. You laugh quietly as he snuggles deeper. Children know warmth instinctively. They gravitate toward it like birds finding sheltered branches. The woman adds another detail, a bit of oral wisdom. She explains some people believe sleeping in enclosed spaces allowed dreams to grow clearer, because the mind stayed warmer and more relaxed. Whether true, the idea feels charming. She shrugs, acknowledging traditions grow from both practicality and imagination. You settle against the back wall of the niche, letting your breath warm the small chamber. The space grows noticeably more comfortable after only a few minutes. The boy shifts closer, giggling when your elbow brushes his arm. The privacy of this nook feels rare in a world where most families live in single-room houses. You realize how valuable even a small sense of enclosure must have been. During harsh winters, the fire crackles faintly at the far end of the room. Orange light dances through the curtain opening, casting soft shapes on the wooden ceiling. You listen to the sounds of the house. Wind taps at the shutters. The fire shifts with gentle puffs. The woman hums quietly as she sews. Everything feels intimate, protected. After a while you lean out, study the exterior structure more closely. The wooden frame surrounding it is thick. You notice builders reinforced it with additional planks, likely to block draft slipping through outer walls. Straw has been packed between planks, sealed with clay and hair. You press your hand against the wall. It is warmer than the rest of the room. The insulation makes a difference. The woman tells you her family sleeps in the niche on coldest nights, leaving the wider bed for storing spare blankets and clothing. She laughs, says when her children were younger, they hid inside during play, pretending It was a ship sailing icy seas. In winter, imagination becomes another tool for survival. As you step out of the mission stretch, the boy crawls out with you clutching his wooden hoe. He hands it to you as a temporary gift, saying you can borrow it. You tuck it into your coat pocket with a smile. You thank the woman for letting you experience the niche. She nods warmly, closes the curtain to save warmth inside. The fabric rustles softly, falls into place. You stand a moment watching the gentle sway of the curtain before turning toward the door. When you step outside, the cold does not feel quite as sharp. You carry a memory of compact, sheltered comfort, a sense of closeness to the house, to the people, to winter itself. Snowflakes drifting seem gentler now, like soft reminders of how humans reshape environment with creativity. You breathe in deeply. The air tingles in your lungs. The night is still vast, but you feel braver facing it. There are more secrets to winter sleep, more corners of history waiting. You take another step forward, ready for the next discovery. You move away from the house with a snug sleeping, feeling the cold wrap itself around you again, like a determined reminder that comfort is temporary. The wind sighs through village lanes. Snow swirls in thin spirals across the ground, whispering against your boots as you walk. You take a slow breath, watching it fog in front of you. Follow the faint flicker of firelight from another cottage. Something about the silhouette draws your attention. The roof is a little steeper, the walls more tightly packed. The shutters have thick cloth draped over inner frames. As you approach, you notice long strips of fabric hanging near the doorway, pulling slightly in the draft. You step inside the cottage and immediately feel why. Heavy bed curtains dominate the room, enclosing the sleeping area in thick folds of fabric. The hearth glows gently, but the main source of warmth comes from cloth. Thick, breathless, shielding cloth. A man sits near the bed, carefully brushing a curtain panel with a stiff bristled broom to remove that. He looks up, smiles, invites you closer. You move toward the bed, feel the temperature shift with each step. The air surrounding the enclosed space is noticeably warmer. You part the curtain slightly. Warm air sighs against your face like a gentle welcome. Inside the curtain space are the straw mattresses, layered with soft wool blankets. The woman sits on the mattress, adjusting small herbs, tiny little cloth bundles along the curtain rods. She explains they hang these fragrant bundles to freshen the air, reduce musty smell caused by humidity trapped inside. Their scent is earthy, soothing, a mix of lavender, marjoram, dried mint. You breathe it and feel momentary calm. She pats the mattress, invites you to sit. When you do, the curtain fabric falls behind with a soft thump. The enclosed bed suddenly feels like a warm bubble, sealed off from relentless cold outside. You run your hand along the inside of the curtain. It is thick, almost quilted layers of woolen cloth stitched together. The woman explains fabric like this does not flow easily. That is the point. The less air moves through it, the more heat stays trapped. She smiles, adds, in some households bed curtains were surprised. They were mentioned in dowries passed between generations, or used to settle bets. The idea amuses you, a curtain as currency. But after sitting inside this warm pocket, you understand why. In winter, warmth is wealth. You lean back, let the curtain fall into natural position. Light filters through fabric in soft gold pattern, giving the tiny enclosed space a half-dreamlike quality. Outside, wind whistles faintly through shutter gaps, but the curtain muffles it until it becomes a distant hum. You suddenly feel the cocoon effect medieval people depended on. It is a small sanctuary born from fabric and breath. The man joins you, points out the wooden frame above the bed that supports the curtains. He explains the frame must be strong enough to carry cloth weight, which grows heavier in winter as dampness creeps in from breath. He knocks on the frame lightly, with answers with dull, confident sound. He tells you this frame is older than he is. He grew up sleeping beneath it. His own father added panels when winters grew harsher. As the woman adjusts a blanket, she explains something often repeated in studies of medieval domestic life. Curtains were not just about keeping warmth in. They were also about privacy. Most families lived in one large room, so curtains offered rare sense of separation. Behind them people whispered stories, shared secrets, enjoyed the illusion of solitude. Imagine how precious that privacy felt after a day of constant work. You reach out, trace a line of stitching along the curtain. Needlework is simple, but strong, done with thick thread, designed to endure constant pulling. The woman tells you she stitched these curtains herself, adding patches whenever they grew thin. She points to a faded square of fabric that once belonged to her grandmother's cloak. It adds strength and memory. The man laughs, softly tells you a bit of village humor. Some people joked if your bed curtains had too many holes, the cold would slip in like an unwanted guest and join the family in bed. He taps one patched Aryan odds, approvingly proud of handiwork. His smile carries warmth of someone who knows how much these curtains protect through winter. Use it quietly a moment, absorbing comfort inside the curtained bed. Sensation of warmth creeping into limbs feels like a reward. After walking through icy village night, you lean back, savor stillness, listening to low crackle of hearth beyond curtain. After a short while you lift curtain, step out. Temperature difference hits immediately, like a cold hand pressing against chest. You inhale sharply. Room outside curtain feels several degrees colder. You instinctively pull coat tighter. Contrast tells you everything about brilliance of simple design. The woman rearranges blankets inside bed, fluffs woolen layer, tucks at foot of mattress. She speaks softly about how much heat curtains save, not just insulation but trapping body warmth. Once people settle inside, breathe together. Bed warms like miniature room. Husband nods, adds, on harshest nights, they sometimes hang extra curtain layer, creating second barrier, trapping more warmth. Gestures to folded curtain hanging neatly near wall. You run hand along coarse surface, feels heavy like winter pressed into cloth. He mentions interesting debate researchers occasionally discuss. Some argue households used bed curtains not only for warmth but to display status through fabric quality. Others claim designs were mostly practical, rarely decorative. He shrugs, acknowledging both ideas may hold truth, depending on household. There was no single correct way to survive cold. You crouch, look at bottom of curtains where they brush floor, edges weighted with small stones sewn into hem. You lift one, slightly tugs downward, ensuring curtain folds straight, seals warm space more effectively. This detail surprises you, clever, subtle. Reminder of how people solved problems with creativity. The woman folds hands, tells you she sometimes reads to children inside curtains by candlelight, though carefully, because open flames near fabric are dangerous. She describes curtain glows softly when lit from inside, turning bed into tiny illuminated den. Picture tender image mother reading stories in warm half darkness, while cold wraps tightly round outside walls. She invites you lie down moment, fully understand comfort. You settle onto mattress, pull section of curtain closed. Warmth wraps around almost instantly. Stillness inside makes you feel suspended, sheltered from everything beyond cloth. Astonishing how simple set of heavy curtains creates gentle haven. You stay only long enough to appreciate ingenuity of design, then rise knowing journey far from finished. Couple thanks you for visiting. You offer grateful nod, step toward door. When you leave cottage, cold snaps immediately. But now you feel ready for it. You have seen how people push back against winter with fabric alone. You walk down snowy path, breath rising like ghosts in air, eager for next shelter, next secret of medieval nights. You continue down icy path, wind tugging at sleeves with playful cruelty, as if reminding you comfort never lasts long out here. Thin veil of snow drifts from rooftops each time gusts sweeps through. You pull color higher, keep walking, guided by faint sounds rolling through night. Low grunts, shuffling hooves, muffled rustle of hay. These are not sounds of people. These are nighttime voices of animals that share rhythms of winter with villagers. You follow noise until reach sturdy timber building, attached to small cottage. Warm breath curls from gaps between boards, glowing in moonlight like mist rising from hidden springs. You step closer, smell it instantly. Deep earthy scent of livestock, warm hide, dried hay, old straw. Dense aroma, familiar grounding. You push open barn or step into heat so sudden you inhale sharply. Barn radiates warmth in way not felt in any human dwelling so far. Animals create their own climate. Bodies release steady heat, thick bedding insulates further. You pause, letting eyes adjust to dim lantern hanging near door. Light reveals cows shifting lazily. Pair of goats chewing cud even at late hour. Few chickens perched on beam, feathers puffed like tiny winter coats. Man sits on wooden stool near cow, mending harness with slow stitches. He looks up, greets with sleepy friendliness. Gestures coming close door, keep warmth inside. You do, temperature rises, even more embracing like heavy blanket. Difference astonishing. Outside cold stings and you feels almost like early spring. Man explains during harshest winters families often slept in or near barn, especially if house poorly insulated. He chuckles softly, says cows more reliable than fire, because they never let body heat drop. Glance around space again, feel sense of practicality woven into every beam. Barn not simply workplace shelter for humans as much as animals. He invites follow into corner, where raised wooden platform sits, beneath thick overhang. On platform rests simple bed made of straw covered with coarse wool blanket. Looks rough but inviting compared to freezing outdoors. He pats blanket, tells sometimes on coldest nights. Family moves out, he sleep with animals. Never considered shameful, considered sensible. Sit edge platform, feel warmth rising from ground. Run hand through straw, dry thick, holding pockets of heat like tiny insulated chambers. Above cow flicks ears, shifting weight with low rumble. Wave of warm air rolls over again. Cow's breath steams air in soft puffs. Man laughs quietly, shares light-hearted piece of rural wisdom. Says goats better companions than cows, because goats wiggle closer, cows prefer keep dignified distance. Follows joke with story about neighbor who claimed goat once stole blanket during night. Whether tale true, adds charming layer to image. Steps over to pig pen, pair plump pigs nestle together under mound of hay. Pigs generate remarkable warmth. Some families let them sleep in attached sheds or special corners of house during winter nights. Watch pigs breathe, slow and bodies radiating heat like small furnaces. Man taps fence gently, says pigs loyal sources of warmth, though not exactly scent free. Smile despite lingering odor in air. His soft clucking sound above. One chicken shifts on beam, feathers ruffling. Chickens do not produce as much heat as larger animals, but present still lifts room temperature a few degrees. More important, they contribute sense of shared life. Look up, think how many medieval nights warmed by presence of creatures whose survival intertwined with human survival. Man gestures toward main cottage entrance connecting to barn. Explains some homes, cottage and animal shelter shared wall, so warmth could seep from one into other. People took advantage of every bit heat nature offered. Lifts lantern points wooden boards in shared wall, warm to touch. Animals other side breathe, shifting gently. Warmth passes through as if moving with intention. While walk mentions observation commonly discussed in studies of medieval farming life. Reliance on animals for warmth, not seeing crude primitive. Viewed wise use of resources. Livestock central family survival. Warmth natural gift, bitter winters. Brushes hand. The long flank cow smiles quiet pride. Crouch near straw bedding, letting fingers sift through. Heat animals mixes earthy scent hay, creating strange comforting atmosphere. Barn feels alive, full steady breathing, slow movements. Calming rhythm, no hurried shuffling, no chattering voices. Just sound creatures resting together against night. Man sits stool tells about ongoing debate among agricultural historians. Some believe sleeping barn significant winter practice role per England. Others argue less common, mostly reserved emergencies, extreme weather. Written records differ, oral accounts scattered, leaving room interpretation. He shrugs, acknowledging uncertainty. Adds this village families do whatever cold demands. Continue observing barn. Lantern light glows softly across rough wooden beams, catching flecks, thus drifting tiny sparks. Smell warm hay animal breath, faint smoky hints carried hearth next door. Scents blend raw honest. Young girl enters barn, small basket grey. Cheeks been cold outside. Sprinkles grain wooden rough pat's side goat affectionately. Notices watching, smiles shyly, tells favorite place winter. Says barn feels like big breathing blanket trapped around all. Find words, simple perfect breathing blanket, exactly feels. As finishes draws picks handful, hay tosses playfully toward chicken. Chicken clucks, indignantly hops twice, Ray settles perch. Girl laughs softly, father joins, speak moment, low gentle tones. Since barn more shelter place, family gathers works, sometimes sleep. Girl looks again, tells when wind screams through village. Frost forms inside cottage windows, they stay here. Mother warm stones hearth brings barn place under bedding. Father stacks extra hay, the long walls block drafts. Sleep close, wrapped thick blankets, listening animals breathe. Describes cozy sharing dreams, creatures care for. Feel quiet admiration settle chest. Simple barn core, straw earthy smells reveals warmth. Genuine luxury. Shows deeply intertwined lives animals sustain. Here survival shared, effort humans, beasts alike. Thank family step back toward barn door. Push open cold grate, sicey teeth. But time carried different understanding warmth. Not just heat fire fabric. Warmth born connection, instinct cooperation. Exhale slowly watching breath, drift night. Continue snowy path, search next story waiting dark. Walk guided, faint shimmering glow pulses gentle distance. Village grown quieter wind settling long steady breaths. Sweep over snow soft brushes. Boots sinks lightly each step, cold tightening around ankles little pinches. Follow glow until silhouettes tall timbers rise ahead. Building larger, any cottage entered far. High walls thick beams cast long shadows moonlight. Must manor, great hall heart warmth authority, medieval community. Approach heavied or light seats edges warm promising. Push open gust heat washes against slow wave. Inhale chest, loosen relief. Hole enormous far wider cottages scattered village. Ceiling disappears, darkness air, carries aromas roasted grain wood smoke resin. Across stone floor last fire evening flickers. Burning low glowing calm reddish hue fills hall soft light. Several servants finishing nightly tasks. Sweep ash hearth fold blankets, set wooden mugs upside tables next day. Movements quiet and hurried worn, long routine. Step closer hearth drawn magnetism. Heat stronger cottages, even fire fading. Large stones hearth radiates stored warmth. Kneel place hand, near he triples upward gently. Almost soothing child fingers back life. One servant nods collect firewood morning. Explains great hall fire burns much longer household hearth. Built large logs gestures thick partially charred, log resting embers. Surface glows streaks deep, or inch. Tells big logs meant, last most night. So lord family guests not wake freezing conditions. Crouches beside adds heat great hall often helps warm surrounding chambers. Even slightly one few places village feel warmth long after flames died. Nod understanding why people cherish time spent near fire. Sit low bench hearth, thick stone radiates, heat beneath. Glance hall everything glows amber tones. Tapestries walls flutter, faint movement, warm air. Woven scenes hunts battles, shimmer firelight colors appear alive. Young woman approaches carrying armful rush lights. Places near table pauses warm hands fire. Tells others often sleep hall harsh winter nights. Spreading blankets near embers after household retires private chambers. Lingering heat offers comfort cold servants' quarters. Smiles shyly begins trimming ends rush light small knife. Watch work noting smell resin mixes warm air. Explains dipped rush pith animal fat make burn longer. Ideas simple effective giving soft glow whole long after sunset. Imagine whole night, dimly lit faint flames people asleep nearby. Breathe slow harmony embers. Stand walk closer hearth, noticing thick iron enderons, support massive logs. Surfaces glow faint absorbed heat place hand, near feel warmth radiating. Heat lingers surprising loyalty, even fire shrinks cluster glowing coals. Warmth remains like memory. Man steps side door wrapped heavy cloak rubs arms. Tells hall built trap heat high roof lets smoke drift upward. But thick stone walls absorb warmth release slowly. Taps wall knuckles, stone feels warm touch remarkable. Age thin walls leaky roofs hall feels indulgent. Mentions point oft unnoted architectural studies. Larger halls especially belonging nobles wealthy landowners. Constructed materials helped retain warmth. Stone absorbs heat fire day radiates back coldest hours night. Feel principal action, every breath, take inside hall. Moves far side room large wooden table sits. Still draped daytime clutter, half-eaten loaf pair wooden bowls. Dog curled bench lifts head sniffs warm air drops sleep. Animals even share search comfort. Servant leads smaller alcove edge hall. Inside bed layered blankets. Sits near half-open window shutter. Explains sometimes younger servants compete sleeping spot. Because closest stoned warmed hearth day. Kneel place hand bed blankets heavy warm. Infused heat lingers whole core. Love sad small story. Last winter, 2 servants raced hall. Claim on spot bedtime discovered lord hound. Already curled refused move. Group ended sleeping around door grateful warmth. Story smile small glimpse playful side winter life. Woman rush lights returns places wall holders. Dim glow joins fading half light tells quietly even noble homes. Nights get cold enough numb fingers stiff joints. A fire great hall protects better anything available. Servants gather before embers vanish whisper stories. Sing sometimes soft voices sleep catchers. Pauses shares fragment folklore grandmother used tell. If person slept far hearth deep free. Dreams could wander landscapes frost. Might not find path back buddy morning. Belief poetic rather literal speaks. Deep respect people held warmth nights. Stand again, near center hall take whole room one time. Tapestries glow reflected fire stones breathe heat. Soft sounds dog shifting echo faintly servants footprints laden floor. Tell stories long day feel immersed world. Sensing balance luxury necessity. Slight crack half catches attention. One embers breaks reveals brighter glow inside. Wave heat sweeps outward, touching face savor. Knowing fire fade. Soon hall cool long winter night. Step toward door preparing leave servants nod farewell. Push door open feel cold rush eager reclaim air. Inhale sharply temperature different shock senses. Outside village lies quiet cloak moonlit snow. Take few steps away whole feeling child warmed experienced. Still discover more ways people endured biting cold. More nights waiting understood. Walk breath rising pale ribbons move toward next flicker life winter darkness. Leave great hole behind stepping once breathless cold. Sweeps open space invisible tide wind grown sharper. Carrying fine grains snow sting cheeks duck chin deeper color. Walk toward dim outline small peasant cottage farther lane. Faint orange glow seeps shatters weaker glow hall. Yet persistent cautious flame guarding last strength. Approach smell familiar scent slowly dying fire. Earthy smoky tinged resin. Step inside first notice family. Hovering hearth almost ceremonial attention. Fire not roaring low nearly swallowed ash alive. Embers glow in blanket white dust glimmer tiny buried suns. Woman kneels hearths sign lifting small wooden rake. Works gentle care pulling ash forward spreading embers practiced rhythm. Man house holds jarred log and glowing faintly. Not placed directly embers tucks ashes planting heat next morning. Banking fire not tending feeding banking. Process older recorded time ritual decides harsh morning feel. Kneel beside watch closely woman explains final task sleep. Ash insulates embers slowing loss heat done correctly coals survive long night. Done purely wake cold ash difficult morning coaxing sparks flint steel. Adds practice shapes rhythm winter evenings. Families finish chores early, eat early, settle early. Enough time cool hearth enough before burying heart beneath ash. Idea fascinates like putting fire bed, trusting warm beneath covers sunrise. Man, look, smiles, saying banking process carry small risks. Ash layeth in embers die, ash thick fire might smother completely. Gestures would unpaddle curved edge surface blackened countless nights. Handling embers paddle family quiet a tear loom, past worn smooth essential. Sit beside hearth child, toddless hands small lump, drying ost-eyed cord. Mother laughs, softly moss nut part fire ritual charm. Child believes brings luck embers idea, taught grandmother enjoys folk tales. Smile gently place charm, hearth child, satisfaction. Lean close of fire, notice embers throb life beneath ash. Glow pulses slow movements, almost breathing. Hold hand, just above warmth rising faint steady enough heat fingers. Keep cottage slightly above freezing first hours night. Woman tells something commonly mentioned, studies medieval rural life. Firewood precious, especially colder regions. Villagers planned winter fuel months ahead. Gathering wood you trading bundles, forests thin. Banking fire, not convenient survival. Fire starting tools, slow tedious unreliable embers dependable. Shift weight man demonstrates final step. Gently drags charred stick hearth floor arrange remaining embers tight cluster. Before covering ash settles, soft hiss tapped hearths in lightly. Listening muffled crackling beneath confirming coals alive. Room begins cool, fire quiets feel immediately. Difference living flame buried ember dramatic, a heavier colder. Sharp drafts roam corners room restless shadows. Family not disturbed gather blankets preparing bed. Before settle man takes long iron poker touches ash 3 spots. Watch gesture carries quiet reverence, almost prayer. Tells family habit not village tradition father believed marking ash. 3 places help distribute. Heat evenly layer. No knows truly works family kept ritual alive. Stand walk cottage noticing room cools quickly. Windows whistle softly wind pushes small gaps floor cold boots. Understand wife Amelie's hurry bed after banking fire. Hearth no longer warms room only job survive night. Explore father oldest daughter, light tiny rush light. Last remaining flame before disappears ash. Small flame flickers brightly moment steadies. Rush light becomes final glow bedtime tasks. Carries across room illuminating shadows gather tools baskets. Pause a stack chopped firewood tells something region believe. Cold embers no living flame considered unlucky touch sunrise. All sayings insist disturbing brings bad weather. Whether belief emerged superstition, practical wisdom and clear. Perhaps way keep curious hands dangerous coals might. Girls sets rush light family sleeping corner, pulls thick blanket straw bedding. Spread old cloak stopped oaks edges quick efficient movements. 2 small dogs curl, footbed bodies radiating warmth nestles straw. Woman folds hands, tells curious detail local memory. Some families sprinkle pinch dried herbs embers before banking. Hoping scent linger faintly night, says smell, not lasted long comforted. Darkest nights, imagine faint trail, rosemary sage drifting cold room. Ruined Arkans rush light burns lower family settles bed shuffles. Gentle whispers man pulls wool blanket shined og stretch sleepy contentment. Embers beneath, ashimet faint glow pulsing gently listening quiet. Step closer half last time, woman lifts small piece jar cool tongues. Places center, buried cluster movement calm careful. Explains places extra cold nights colder usual nods shutter, gaps rattle wind. Adding tonight needs every bit heat watch smooths, ash final time. Hearth becomes small mound, white powder hiding vital heart. Feel warmth fading room, chill like side dissolving silence. Step outside cold night greets again, yet feel different. Witnessed quiet ritual kept countless families alive centuries. Ritual built patience, trust intimate knowledge fire. Take long breath, walk forward snow embers behind continue slow glowing work. Ahead lies winter, wisdom waiting discovered. Move frozen night, breath drifting upward long pale strands. Make way toward clustered cottages, cold presses harder. Midnight sharpened teeth wrap arms, think deeply winter dictates life. Affect sleep, warmth, shelter, subtler rhythms body. Soon learn medieval people understood truth instinctively. New surviving brutal nights depended fires, blankets. Also stomachs before crawling covers. Reach next cottage, smell, rich comforting drifting walls. Scent meat, fat roasted oats, hint onion. Stomach tightens hunger. Push door open, step. Inside greeted instantly, wave warm savory air. Family gathers, wooden table, pot, hearth sides glisten faintly grease. Woman ladle steaming stew, small bowls each portion, topped glimmering fat. Not solidified man, house gestures join family shifts closer, making room table. Sit feel he tries pot steam curls, air carrying aromas unreal after breathing. Frozen air so long woman, explains always eat hearty sleeping winter nights. Cold drains energy quickly, full stomach protects body losing heat fast. Watch dips, ladle lifts thicker. Mixture bottom pot contains barley. It's salted pork chunks, root vegetables grown garden before frost. Food simple feels, luxurious context winter night. Hands bowl, cradle palms letting heat seep fingers warmth, small miracle. Lift lips, taste thick fatty broth coat stung richness clings throat swallow. Sensation immediate comforting grounding family watches expectantly. Hoping enjoy humble meal, smile faces brighten. Father explains food nourishment preparation sleep. Fatty meals warm body inside oats. Barley meat provides slow energy. Lasts coldest hours modern science explains medieval discovered truth experience. Warm full belly shield night. Adds family fortunate butter. So mix evening pottage, spoonful helps. Glance button notice droplets golden fat shimmer surface. Mother ladle stew children bowls encouraging finish scrap. Older boy explains sometimes of dried peas pottage. Especially night wind rattles shutters extra or sleens table grins. Saying pea stick ribs keep warm even fired eyes laugh playful comment. Blends easily warm atmosphere mother offers small bowl filled darker. Peer inside small chunks, preserved meat, thick glaze rendered fat. Explains winter stock kept coldest corner. Cottage family eats sparingly. Must last night's taste strong salty dense nutrient. Shares detail royal families often repeated themselves. Believed eating fatty food sleep made dreams stable restful. Whether superstition roots biology imagination comforted long icy nights. Eat notice small pot hearth simmers, slowly barely bubbling. Father explains tonic boiling herbs net elderberry yarrow. Villagers drink bed ward winter shivers hands would uncup liquid sharp herbs. Faint bitter sip warms throat immediately spreading heat chest. Effect soothing soft breath unfolding girl table tells grandmother insists. Tonic keeps frost, settling deeply bone shrugs and sure old saying truth. Drinks anyway tastes family tradition grandmother says winter respects. Those respect food father nods adds peace local wisdom. Heavy meals help villagers sleep longer long sleep avoids hourly exposure. Less wake hunger less brave freezing air cottage remember walking earlier. Homes feeling quickly heat escapes fires dim long sleep preservation. Tells villagers often share advice winter diet community. Families reheat leftover fat pots set breads mere crust sustaining. Others mix dried fruit available porridge, increase warm sweetness. Imagine comfort simple bowl warm porridge children huddled wool blankets. Long nights mother leans mentions, small dispute arises conversations practices. Some argue heavy meals led sluggish mornings others believe sluggish worthwhile. Allows body survive cold. Neither side claims victory simply winter discussions. Dark nights family finishes meal stacks bowls neatly children preparing bedding. Moving warmest corner room help shake wool blanket. Lift smell faint aroma out. Likely added fabric washing scent comforts unexpectedly look pot hearth. Stew thickens cools mother places with unlid preserve remains. Tells tomorrow mornings to warm fresh water. whatever ate tonight. Strengthen batch, nothing wasted. Winter scrap becomes meal. Moment room falls. Quiet fire softens glow. Children curl blankets. Parents adjust hearth tools. Realize deeply. Food anchors. Season fuels bodies. Sleep rituals. Stories. Step outside. Cold meets familiar force. Feel warmer. Air changed. Carry memory. Heat trips. Stew herbal tonic. Laughter. Shared dinner. Follow night. Invisible embers. Walks. No feeling. Grounded. Nourished. Ready. Learn else. Medieval world. Outsmarted winter. Leave cottage rich to warming stomach. Cold outside. Slightly cruel. Breath trails behind plumes. Make toward home. Faint fragrance air. Subtle hidden scent. Frostwood. Smoke grows stronger. Approach door. Smell sweet earthy comforting. Follow thread. Doorway. Small bunches. Dried plants hanging. Lintel tide. Thin twine shapes. Crisp winter dryness. Open door. Step. Warm air. Perfumed herbs. Wraps once. Fragrance follow. Rising bundles. Hearth bowls. Shelves. Cloth pouches. Bedding. Woman fire. Crushing leaves. Wood unmortar. Looks. Wipes hands. Apron. Invites. Kneel. Inhale. Blend scents. Lavender. Chamomile. Rosemary. Each carries slightly personality. Together create cloud. Calmness. Instantly relax. Explains herbs. Merely pleasant smell. Help warm body. Ease mind. Restful sleep. Voice gentle. Nose scent. Soothe sick. Exhausted. Anyone braves unforgiving cold. Takes pinch. Crushed chamomile. Sprinkles. Cloth pouched. Eyes shut. Practice twist. Hands warmth. Hands softened. Herbs releasing aromas. Oft blankets. Quiet evening. Says people tuck pouches. Clothes help night pass comfortably. Examine pouch. Notice faint golden powder. Clinging cloth. Fragrance grows warmer. Palm hills. Chamomile relax muscles. Lavender calms mind. Rosemary sharpens breath. Cold nights. Family believes scents fall faster. Especially fired eyes. Early cold presses health. Leads family sleeping area. Thick blankets. Folded footbed. Beneath layer. Patchworked. Tiny herb sockets. Arranged neatly bedding. Tied green thread. Faded red string lift. Shows herbs crumble pressed. Releasing warm fragrances. Drift air. People sleep. Explains detail often mentioned. Accounts medieval household life. Herbs. Significant role. Managing winter. Discomfort. Used cooking. Healing. Daily routines. Warm thrust. Says scent lavender especially. Lingers hours. Trapped blanket. Sweetness settles. Strong actress. Becomes family winter memory. Child wanders. Bundle dried mint leaves. Pops hand grins mischievously. Mother laughs. Dells mint secret. Nights are heavy. Crushed releases sharp energizing scent. Wakes senses making cold less suffocating. Boy leans whispers sometimes hides mid. Brother pillow prank scent startles. Brother awake always blames. Imaginary spirits laugh. Unused simple mischief. World shaped cold necessity jokes. Brighten nights move hearth pot bubbling. Mixture smells woody sweet. Stirs would unspoon explaining herbal brew. Drinking sleep ladles cup hands. Liquid warm slightly bitter hints. Honey softening. Edges slides throat warmth blooms chest. Slow sunrise tells brew winter herbs. Dried late autumn villages stronger versions. Suffering chills lingering coughs. Neighbor mixed thyme sage horseradish single pot creating drink potent. Decide medicine punishment. Family prepares bedding. Father stepped cold. Carrying bundle dried plants collected earlier day. Shakes loose snowflakes. Spreads fired. Rye tails prefers gather herbs. Personally plants carries quirks. Dry faster. Release stronger scents. Crumble easily. Method testing everything. Knows plants help. Family night. Curious comment. Reflect. Subtle wisdom. Past generations. Certain herbs behave differently. Deep winter, autumn, spring. The leaf cold strengthens aroma. Sealing oils. Inside warm. Whether scientifically see why families continue believe. Mother invites help arrange. Sleeping area together. Lift blanket. Sprinkle dried petals. Layers petals crackle. Settling children giggle. Pretending petals magical flakes. Ward nightmares smile. Appreciating mixture. Practicality. Imagination fills home. Once bedding arranged. Parents show practice. State clay bowl. Smoldering herbs carry room. Herbs release stream fragrance. Smoke drifts. Gentle fog walks slowly letting circulate. Creates warm comforting. Hay settles. Air clings. Walls. Father says cleansing ritual. Keeps sickness, adds layer warmth, cottage idea. Fascinates, smoke, heat through. Transforms atmosphere, intimate, protected, leans, shares. Scholarly question often. Arises discussions, medieval herbal practices. Some researchers think rituals. Practical purposes, mouse repelling insect. Others believe emotional. Helping families less vulnerable, darkest nights. Definite answer written sources. Very stand, breathing, smoky fragrance. Feels reasonable, explanations true. Boy mint bundle, tug sleeve, leads window, frost patterns, lace glass forming. Delicate shapes, feathers, vines, presses, palm frost quickly pulls laugh. Breath fogs glass, leaving round patch, warmth, mimic action, feels stings skin. Laugh quietly, sharing moments, simple joy, night deepens, family prepares sleep. Parents settle, thick blankets, children climb beside herb sackets, release perfume. Filling room, dreamy calm, fired ends, a fragrant warm spirit, temperature drops. Stand moment, soaking harmony, seam room faintly glows, last embers fire. Scent lavender, chimolime lingers, softs, a relaxed ending, finally step outside. Rushes, greet eager, always carry warm herbs, senses warm, pocket memory. Shields thoughts, freezing air, walk forward, ready discover secrets, winter hide. Continue sleeping village, scent herbs lingering, clothing cold, presses insistent. Needling understand cottage, visited layered warmth homes, rely straw wool. Clever architecture, fragrant aids, yet layer winter survival closely simple. Universal touches, family regardless wealth, clothing, sleep, walk, modest cottage. Lit faint wavering glow inside fire, nearly stub light flickering, sleepy heartbeat. Room chilly, lifeless woman, wooden stool half holding linen, night, shirt left. Sue's patch, shoulder slow, careful stitches, notices smiles, tired warmth invites. Night shirt once often winters, touch fabric lightly coarse, surprisingly pliable. Linen breeze, explains though warmest cloth, works beautifully layered wool. Lifts thick woolen tunic, clays beside garment together, sleeping outfit, husband. Where tells winter clothes, important blankets, medieval needed layers. Trapped heat, closed bodies not suffocate, shakes woolen to neck revealing moth. Stitched tray, stitched years, threadbare patches, reinforced scraps, cloth pastels. Past winter's reach to neck feel texture fingers, heavy wool, slight sheen, lanolin. Thickness promises warmth, explains rarely wash garments, winter natural oils. Repel moisture, heat better, chuckles, smell concern, survival center stage. Daughter enters wearing capped-eyed, neatly chin, made wool linen lining inside. But just shyly tells cap keeps you to escaping head without wakes cold. Matter blankets, nod realizing body, he tries his escapes protection. Holds second cap, examined fabrics, oft touches forehead, rougher outside. Mended times, mothers, caps essential, wealthier homes, decorated embroidery. Trimmed finer fabrics, upper classes, practicality rules, father enters adjoining. Pulling sleeves, linen shirt, put wears woolen jerk, inseams thick sleep. Nights demand protection, cold jerk, entraps warmth, cord, eyes snug, cord, waist. Chuckles shows long woolen stockings, bed, reach thighs, fastened garters. Without legs, ache dawn, run fingers, stockings knit tight, dense, slightly scratchy. Scratch in his charm adds, reminds warm, alive winter. Night's mother picks bundle. Cloth bench and folds, inside gloves thin, linen worn, heavier, wool mitten. Explains sleeps, linen pair, husband adds, wool layer wind, fierce fingers stiff. Winter stiff, lose faster, protecting night, helps avoid painful mornings, work early. Watch family move, nightly ritual, layer, prepare bodies, sleep earlier, families. Prepared bedding, herbs, garment, purpose, layer works. Others father half, adjust. Second wall, shoulders, firelight, glimmers, fabric tells, commonly medieval writings. People slept, clones ward, changing garments, cold, invited chills, true nights. Specific sleep garments, precious, helped maintain warmth, wearing daily quickly. Touch, edge woolen garments, feeling rigged. We've patterned fingertips, wool catches. Quickly, even minutes half, wakes alive, think furs, quilts earlier, realizing fabric. Crucial fire grows tired, night. Deepens, little girl pulls, soft socks, shelf shows. Proudly made, thick scraps, wool lined rabbit, fur toes, explains grandmother crafted. Promised keep feet warm, longest nights wiggles, toes demonstrating power smile. Touched small childish pride mother light stello candle stub carries bed. Sets low shelf flickering glow reveals base bed covered layers blankets arranged. Places woolen shawls head bed extra warmth. Someone wakes shivering father step. Shares thought families region agree. Good clothes save warmth weak fire warms. Room clothing warms directly harshest winds. Steel air clothing clings body final. Defense describes lingering question. Often studied medieval life. Most people warm multiple layers bed. Every winter only extreme cold, argue thick. Constant need others suggest families adapted based fuel-fired rafty homes. Shrugs admitting people kept alive practices shifted village family. Family prepares lime other arranges garments time tucks children separate layers. Pulling blankets daughter snuggles. Cap contented sigh father, crawls deliberate. Slowness not cold air slip pat space jokes jerk, in feels walking furnace. Wife laughs settles adjusting layers, stand absorb peaceful garments whisper. Blanket slayer working icy night bearable warm, realize clothes mean luxury. Survival tools shape tradition necessity, outside cold waits wool linen layering. Stand firm gentle nod step night wind greets sharply mind carries warmth. Fix ox caps patched tonic Scottish teachers peace winter, wisdom family reveals. Still lessons a headstep night wind, slipping cold fingers, neck moment door closes. Instead shrinking inhale crisp wake senses. Seen families wrapped clustered hearths. Cocooned curtains wonder happens homes walls roofs floors shutters people kept. Frigid leaking crack follow question. Walks no guided faint light shining seams. Wider sturdier cottage approach notice leaning outer walls bundles dried rushes. Piles door bucket clay straw cottage work progress deep winter knocks awfully step. Voice invites warm faint steady air smells fresh earth smoke will man. Wall small wooden spatch a pressing damped dub narrow crack runs timber beams. Wife bucket clay mixture handing material works. Watch patch practice driven. Glances smiles, inviting explains winter, constant battle drafts tiniest gaps let icy. Slips floors morning fight tree enforce walls whatever do. Abby moss struck lay. Wool strips rags traps blocked wind part home, touch wall pressed fresh daub. Feels dense, ceiling seam woman tells houses made wattled daub shift, seasons. Heat expands framed summer winter tightens tiny cracks, appear gestures corner. Wind whistle storms, sealed earlier mixture, clay chops drop at darker wall. Child scurries dragging handful moss stuff skep base wall patting proudly father. Ruffles hair saying boy expert spotting draft scrouch patched feel effectively stops. Cold creeping soft flexible easy pack nature architecture woman invites floor. Covered woven rushes springy mat feet explains rushes protect cold ground. Trap warm flower parts replaced often moisture dirt. Settle grabs handful shows. Plated stalks flatten texture rough warmer bare earthwood mentions accepted. Detail study. Medieval homes rushes insulation flooring especially winter. Sprinkled herbs dried flowers musk smells freshen ideas sleeping soft glow. Appreciate medieval relied natural clever. Looks ceiling thick beams cross surfaces. Aged smoke frost explains roofs, that cold wind rises, especially thatch grows old. Fix climb loft press straw gaps hank loft drafty points loft ladder encourages. Ascend slowly temperature loft cooler lined layers straw act tightly air still. Run hand, across dry brittle effective absorbs, sound heat buffer winter night. Joins shows long sticks push straw deeper edges roof prevents wind slipping. Thatch chilling below describes time storm to part thatch left freezing days. Neighbors helped repair community, saved winter roof repairs alone descending. Room notice shelf window shutters reinforced cloth strips woven slats flutter. Wind presses beams proudly explains layering cloth window shutters keeps frost. Forming thickly, inside frost builds quickly melts fire warms drips rushes creating. damp patches, cold lift slayer reveals, straw cracks, shutters, small insulation place. Pump shutter, difference colder wall warmer outside, small enhancement matters. Gestures hearth fire, low stones, surrounding glow faint warmth, explains stacked. A long cooking retention holds warmth flames, fade slowest, eddy radiators taps gently. Emits soft heat fire, glow young girl enters carrying basket old wall scraps sets. Mother begins stuffing thin gaps, door frame help press fingertips holds firmly. See looks proudly announcing helped gather scraps old clothing mended mother. Nods shares household belief families wool scraps placed wall cracks last longer. Blessed winter festivities where the superstition tradition cares idea joyful lingers. War's darkest tasks father tells question. Discussed study historical techniques. Most families reinforce homes winter, only manage improvements consistently. Believe constant common think lacked materials energy, maintain carefully says. Depended whether household strength winters demanded work understand. Whether pruding medieval home single chores, season-long project day brought. Cracks chills patches fix finds ways keep family finishes repairs rubs hands. Half letting warmth settle skin. Mother folds door neatly storing wall children. Curl warm corner, jiggling quietly wool scraps look time appreciate int reflects. Effort patched walls stuffed shutters placed rushes strop act loft defenses. Cold perfect powerful step outside presses sharply angry escaped reach cottage. Mind carries memory stones thick daub wall stuffed gaps walk night eager. Discover winter wisdom waits sleeping village push winter dark boots sinking. Snow winged low moaning voice feels colder art tightens frost grip breath freezes. Dark moving drawn soft glow ahead. Wide radiance hearth, scattered rush lights. Smaller, sharper, deliberate follow slope smoke curls, thin ribbons, step inside. Notice small iron objects, tool hearth, shallow metal pan, long wooden attached. Woman crouches, tongue smell warm iron, lift slides under blankets bed rustles. Releasing wave heated air watching old extremities icy, bedding warmer, poles. Shows inside glowing coals flicker. Gentle sleepy fireflies explain scoop hot hearth. Place bam close lid slide apparatus beneath warm bedding sleep sounds process. Skill coals blanket scorch few bed stays points dark mark span coals burned. Bright learn instant treat caution husband enters, holding warmer dent side joke. Dent drop surprise coal pot sets adds fresh embers watch steam metal. Warmth small sun hands woman smiles warming pans come in poorer household. Iron costly afford heat smooth stones rolling fire, grow hot placing bed shows. Basket rounded hearth, darkened heating cooling pick carefully warm burning. Holding puff sunlight stones winter companions lacked expensive tools takes. Wrap scrap wool cloth protects scorching, keeps longer tucks bundle foot patting. Gesture adds layer comfort me nights fired windows work, stells noted descriptions. Medieval habits believed warmth feet helped entire body, relax sleep, cold disturbed. Dreams night longer imagine line winter warmth toes boots layered feet numb. Demonstrates move across slow slide sheets warm path covers fabric rises heated. Spreads tempted slip test laughs warm spot hot explains detail household. Accounts warmers moved constantly avoid scorching linens, durable vulnerable live. Grandmother burned whole treasured. She leaving round mark family joked years. Invites bench bed continue warming places. Stool moment lifts wooden under bed. Shows frame support thicker blankets warming pan. Want thoroughly hot metal. Fabric admire practical ingenuity demonstrates mentions question study domestic. Most households warming pans regularly. Mainly wealthier rural believe widespread. Records suggest quietly generations, argue rare outside supplied homes. Shrugged region families method, kept alive house tool neighbors shared stand hearth. Drawn glow low alive flames curling charred logs meals, shows coal shovel transfer. Embers handle wrapped cloth protect hands tapped shovel process gathering art. Choose pieces glow fiery experience teaches balance pick serbs bowl hearth. Rosemary, thyme, dried apple peels, sprinkles coals, closing lid, crackle releasing. Sweet smoky scents explains families. Add herbs, beds, pleasant calming atmosphere. Inhale fragrance, softness, memories, warmer hiding tools, couple finish warming bed. Rotate inside blankets, fold quiltus. I'd let settle inviting woolen surface touched. Heat gestures tests light fingers warmth. Envelops instantly slipping pocket safety. Carved moment imagine. Pulling chin cradling prowls boy enters clagic hearth. Warm water warming hands splashing faces before bed praises helpful niece family. Member contributes preparing night father folds neatly smoothing cool patches. Warming pans wonderful tools used carefully winter's neighbor fell asleep removing. Woke smoke sheets fortunately spread memory serves warning household echoes. Caution, never spot long move evenly remove minutes. Lying removed holds enough. Lull bones family prepares children gather giggling poke warm toes parents faces. Glow firelight watch ritual warmth transforms simple happiness step observe room. Flickering worn tools carefully handled warmer wand stones hearth air thick effort. Winter rituals small build world sleep possible coldest night step outside greets. Sharply hold memory metal, glowing coals blankets, infused walks no knowing. Lessons surviving deep winter continue fading trail footprints breath forming clouds. Walk cottages quiet ahead, low stone building tall narrow windows gleam. Moonlight recognize monastery settlement Shea prizes guardian Solomon moving. Drawn era sensed each differently sleep approach wooden or soft chant within. Low steady woven cold push gently hinges groundful step hall lit candles flames. Flicker golden thread stone floor chills instantly air wax gold faint incense evening. Prayers monk's simple robe approaches hands folded serene gestures follow narrow. Corridor walk temperature drop stones drink trace warm throb arms wondering. Sleeps leads dormitory long tightly spaced wooden beds stretchers fitted mattresses. Stuffed blankets modest wool patched worn windows small unshuttered allowing. Lined fall field breeze flow corridor creeping beneath clothing tells all asleep. Space spiritual unity share points arranged close person benefits body heat. Far maintained discipline design balances practicality devotion. Kneel stroke wrinkle. Hum colder touched wool coarse thin lift air seeping brushes realize monks. Humility comfort embrace cold path wake times night pray rarely allowed dormitory. Encourages drowsiness interferes strict schedule worship discipline clarity mind. Cold numb fingers toes offers thoughtful detail. Monastic histories believed enduring. Hardship strengthened spiritual focus. Cold, thin, simple, reminded detached pleasures. Discomfort, devotion, physical younger passes. Clay water surface shivers, sets beside. Points many nights water freezes dark hours imagine waking prayer, dipping icy. Return bed hardly skin discipline immense father room silent creaks wood. Responding temperature hold, stillness vibrates touch wall frost forming crystals. Sparkles veil stars captured indoors approaches lantern dims, often's edges explained. Robes double sleeping rarely change sleep robes where duties touch fabric heavy. Rough scented smoke earth softness wealthier feels sturdy endurance shares lore. Severe monks slept hands took sleeves feet trapped cloth scraps dorn habits. Old prayer cloths juckles practice elegant prevented frostbite coldest chimes. Distant lifts marks brief midnight leads corridor bites harder floors uneven. Narrow smaller chambers several monks kneel stone floor heads bowed breaths. Fog quiet devotion chant rises soft tide feel warmth voices air remains ends. Stand bow walks silently dormitory rest lingers speaks softly explained scholars. Monastic monasteries allowed heated rooms extreme weather insisted spiritual test. Records very widely shrugs gently suggesting order shaped rules belief tradition. Local climate order believes winter refines patience strengthens resolve takes chest. Bundle herbs thyme mint burn occasionally freshen. Ease breathing scent subtle. Comforting strong herbs distract senses support focus stone bricks arranged hearth. Adjoining, unlike earlier monastery, sparingly hearth burns communal meals night. Ember swept, leaving cold, quiet discipline humbles, sleep conditions strong will. Younger shows trick, preserve warmth brutal night. Place tightly sealed clay jug. Warm under straw warmth, escaped radiates gentle glow short, modest meaningful. Fire tools forbidden laughs, softly admits novices sneak warmer, clothing first. Gently corrected senior rules, learning endure journey returns main monks lie wall. Blankets breathing slowly fitting will carry rest faces peaceful warm accepted. Routines fully stand quietly doorway letting sink something humbling austerity. Curtains warming pans, heavy feather beds faith discipline shared room breath. Communal struggle finally step outside hits violently understand from winter heat. Comes purpose structure belief breathe deeply walk monastery ready learn wonders. Travelers survived long roads beyond village, leave behind clinging reluctant silence. Snow crunches step echoing stillness a headland, open stretches road lanterns. Weak moon casts glow ridges frozen earth imagine revelers crossed paths harsher. Thin cloaks spraying shelter, frost claimed strength follow farther dim lantern. Swinging low wooden building shape white lax decorative touches in travelers. Smoke chimney rises lazily softening skies. I step closer rattles warm sounds. Cracks muffled laugh scrape bench clink mug enter breath warm mixed tale. Roasted damp drying hearth group travelers huddle table cloak steaming thaw. Cheeks glow red boots drip melted floor hands tremble exhaustion glance friendly. Nods in keeper approaches wiping hands. Apron gestures encourages warm fingers. Hearth thick logs burn confidence flames curling bright orange life stretch savor. Sting thawing skins at clay mug hot ale ginger lips warmth spills chest brings. Strength lost drink innkeeper explains stagger half frozen severe arrive alone. Animals groups drawn faint light guides glance caller wanderer lies wrapped cloak. Limb curled face hidden fried fire pot floor clay pot warm embers perforated lid. Traveler portable hearth cradling chest setting feet sleep tells pots brushes. Companions roads glow hours offering frost settling bones curious near fire pot. Place hand holds lid gentle warmth escaping shift sweetly smiles but. Merchant claimed outlast handled promised cherishes kept alive slept collapsed barn. Miles explains roadside barns abandoned sheds makeshift shelter spaces. Comfortable block wind, share building animal strangers meet along single roof. Difference waking stiff alive waking, moves across it pair travelers younger thick. Cloaks leather boots crusted girl leans warming boy straight warming fire tell. Spent nights road visiting family village, night shelter ferry river ferrymen retired. Should remained unlocked bundles, straw stored piled, makeshift bed layering cloaks. Laughs softly recalls, wind rattled shed, midnight pretended noise, spirit's truth. Grateful wooden barrier night relief, eyes sits warm hearth in adds share winter. Generosity, necessity food blankets fire pots information shelter ahead frozen. Kindness skill, trust strangers cold equal returns tray bread cheese offering portion. Winter inns refuse traveler beds full room firestorms trap days comment temporary. Community exhausted keeping awake stories meals follows doorway lead sleeping. Visitors inside travelers rest raised platforms lined straw out blankets in. Snore softly silence curled cats warm thinned. Resting sleep fully clothed cloaked. Bodies boots ready slips seconds explains travelers rarely undress preserve. Prepared fleek a lapsing roof, shovel snow blocking, shoes stack extra chest course. Wash dependable lifts sleeping shoulders gesture, gentle scents performed acts. Countless winters young boy works enters bucket warm places sleeping platforms. Travelers warm faces wake spells bucket stay inside, leaving door means freeze. Returns gust wind shakes shutters frowns, checks slat rattles mutters loosen hinges. Nail morning scents repeated routine bit remembered wisdom past and keeper next. Bank fired on pot war mail hearth stool straw unexpected guests never let wander. A lone skied Arkan's clouds shares quiet, echoed winter tales travelers carry stories. Places winter become warmthless and entertainment direction warnings hope earlier. Wander a fire pot glowing signal survival night deepens drift benches floor cloth. Listen crackling feels thick fatigue safety step outside lanterns ways drifts feet. World dangerous knowing people find barns ferry sheds inns beside warm beasts. Scent resilient always deep breath. Continue learn wealthier households prepared. Winter nights beyond travelers reach leave behind stepping cold fold stiff cloak. Snow crunches rhythm walk monogrounds glimpsed of far shaped prizes slowly darkness. Larger cottages quieter, inst Elium monastery noble household sleeps differently. Villages curious changes rhythm small bridge beneath weight frozen plank torch. Gate flames struggling persistent building ahead somber dignified stone walls thick. Unmoving moonlight approach entrance servant fur-lined nods ushers warmth greets. Overwhelming roaring gentle spread great chamber careful design walls lined. Tapestries thick loose hand we shows hunting scene frozen time depict screen. Tree embroidered exquisite detail more decorate traps or fine ed comfort rooms. Feel cold tunes steward approaches candle holder carved ivory gestures follow. Narrow corridor walk notice carpets floor woven tightly wall dyed deep reds dark. Green step sink softness explains expensive muff wind sneaking floorboards. Older especially harsh winters noble prize items beauty barriers icy move side. Private chamber warm dim its ingle chandelier candles drip. Wax brass plates noble. Sits hearth brushing hair. Made folds thick blankets footbed feels layered luxury. Soft furs chairs embroidered cushions stacked window polished wooden chest. Linens welcomes gentle nod sets brush-aside gestures inviting exam and walk closure. Notice in almost all chest carved post rising pillars. Thick curtains surround sides. Drawn moment. Explains bed curtains heavy wool lined fine linen pulled shut trap. Effectively air inside feels separate climate lifts corner feel fabric weighty dense. Smooth hand brush times winter howls. Outside husband draw curtains leaving. Narrow gap smiles recalls wind screamed warmth curtain kept in touch notice. Fur coverlets bread mattress glows firelight texture deep touches fur foxes. Grandfather hunted seasons pelt holds well bitter warms quickly body lifts edge. Drapes on softness surprise alive comfort years made finishes folding opens carved. Chest store inside lie layers linen silk fine quilts stitched summer fields laugh. Softly some imagery helps spirits cold picture sleeping beneath quilt embroidered. Sunshine growls psychological. Shield physical enters robe trimmed dark fur Aries. Brass vessel shaped small jug and screws. Lid reveals heated stones glowing captured. Explains place stones bed frame coldest. Allowing rise mattress invites vessel brass. Radiates gentle heat imagine effective room surface prepared retained sets under sits. Fire burns steady logs thick oak expensive slow tells estates require careful planning. Ensure enough fuel wood cutters gather warmer stack covered sheds reserves best. Nighttime voice carries tone responsibility rather pride heat matter preparation. Wealthy speaks noted household accounts noble families tapestries carpets fur. Essential tools displays status purpose comfort survival homes used advantage. Soften harshness cold crept crack stone frames woman pours drink clay pot hearth. Offers warm spiced wine clove cinnamon spreads throat chest ember helps relax. Spice precious healing especially sip closes eyes warmth settles bones husband. Scholars debate warm noble houses truly winter. Argue great chambers cold despite. Fires believe enough fuel bedding heavy fabrics managed genuine warmth shrugs. Lightly luxury night wind sneaks fingers gaps curled Ypres blanket servant returns. Carrying cloth soaked terrible water places across feet couple climbs cloth releases. Steam scents rosemary juniper explains warming feet. Helps entire body relax. Echoing villages our grows couple prepares made poles halfway watch interior. Dark and soft shadow climbs, all practiced grace follows, settling pulls for her shoulders. Curtains rest in closing cocoon, warmth, privacy, step back, feel ripples, heat, fireplace. Cheek steward discourse, respectful nod-step, at side sweeps wave, carry memory. Tapestries, glowing firelight, stones, bed curtains, falling sanctuary, journey, ready, see. Children weather cold, challenges, adults stern, walk, letting glow windows fade, world. Quiet, trapped, silver stillness, snow crunches, rhythm, follow narrower path, winds. Frozen, well-lined, bare trees, branches, ink strokes, moonlit walk, think adults watched. Fighting tools, rituals, resilience, seen winter eyes, younger children, live ways, world. Feels larger, heavier, magical, grown hearts, spot lantern, swinging small edge light. Wavers, golden, step closer, knock, gently moment. Opens puff, mixed wool milk porridge. Sweet dried apples, mother stands, bundle cloth, arm smiles, tiredly invite center. See preparing, bed, small girl kneels, half, rubbing, warming fingers, flickers. Younger stool, tugging, wool socks, feet. Fierce determination, smallest toddler, messy. Waddles, clutching, blanket trails, tail, father table, sharpening knife work, late hour. Comforting habit, keeping busy, looks, nods, kindly gestures, half lower beside children. Hard packed earth beneath rushes, cold layers, hearth glances, shoulder tills, checking. Fire, guardian gaze, small clay, figure hearts, I nest round, resembles squatting details. Softened handling, says grandmother told, figurine, protect, fire, family, sleeps, weather. Story meant comfort, distract, cold, clearly means father chuckles, claim memento. Childhood never corrects, winter comfort matters, accuracy lowers, stool and rats. Bundle arms inside, wool cap, neatly sewn, lined places, gently toddler beams proudly. Toddless, hugging blanket, children, begin arranging space, bed, large shape cluster. Pushed close, share throughout, naturally toward bodies, gravitate, magnets, seeking. Instinctive, ingrained, earliest winters, lifts, heavy peg, surface, warm, thin, patch. Holes, beautifully draped, scarcely bed, underneath layer upon, creates soft spring gay. Crinkles, settle, eldest pulls, flat stone, beneath pillow glows, residual warmth, explain. Father, heated fire, earlier wrapped cloth. Falling sleep, presses, brother hands, tells sleep. Grinning, hugging chest, watches. Exchange, soft tells, warm stones, quiet bedtime gift. Siblings, warmest stone, completed chores, though generosity wins, give struggled. Needed extra comfort, children manage, daughter answers, first stay warm, pretending. Fox's den, slips, demonstrates, tightly tucks, legs pocket, brother stretches dramatically. Declares, hibernating, bear rolls eyes, pulls tighter. Anyway struggles, climb, lifts, places. Between siblings, giggles, wiggles, center, children sleep. Closest warm bodies, explains. Smaller frames lose faster, wake oft, uninsulated, clunking voice, carry certainty. Spent winters learning first hand, rises, shows, stacked cloth, squares, twine, aunties, reveals. Herbs, mint, lavender, sewn cloth, sackets, prepared, autumn places near heads. Scent, comforts, relaxes, used, give, doll, scraps, cloth, summer scent, reliable companion. Adds, grows, dangerously cold, burn, pinch, dried, chemalime, let smoke swirl, bed. Moment, opening shutter, briefly clear, creates, soothing, settles, smoke, harmful whisper. Comes, anxious, folds, another draped, ducking edges, sides, leaves, corner, loose, escape. Wake, overheated, pauses, adjust, cap, ensuring covers, properly asks, bedtime story. Kneels beside, begins speaking, lost, eddy tells, simple, my survived storm. Huddling, fallen leaf, listen intently, faces, relaxed breath, slowing, gentle, light, small. Places, hearth, gives soft glow, fears, total darkness, leaves, faint, burning fire low. Embers, guide, wandering, finishes, tucks, time, light, rifting breaths, rise an even toddler. Clutches sleeve, mutters, sleepy farewell, stone holds, parents watch, stillness. Encourages, softened, endless presence, finally step outside, sharp, broken glass. Fighter, carry memory, family, clustered blankets, rising, falling, tiny breath stream. Bundling, will straw walk, onward, ready, explore, ancient, medical, beliefs shaped. Mysterious, snow-filled sky, continue narrow, packed, tightly boot, crunches, brittle. Settles, deeper darkness, grows heavier, pole coat, turns, small cottage, faint herbal. Drifting chimney fragrance, sharp soothing hints sage, bitter identify closer reach. Someone tends ailments winter, healer understanding warmth fire, bedding mystery. Human body knocks softly elderly opens eyes bright despite age laid sure older. Cottage waves come gesture inside cool and welcoming bundles dried herbs rafters. Clay jars wooden shelves low table hearth cluttered pestles dried roots folded. Studies moments mile knowingly already understands commotion small stool fire. Sit cold eases fingers reaches waves begins speaking gentle winter affects body. Way see sleep harder breathing sharp blood thickens poles clay pot shelf sets. Mixture crushed herbs coiled bark lifts pinch nose scent bones slightly clearing. Sinuses explains medieval believed cold emblem sinner. Forces making sluggish. Melancholic restless counter effects relied warming herbs stimulating drinks. Practices restore equilibrium ideas experience. Calls all books worn manuscripts. Past walk stable picks cloth pouch hands open dark brown pieces ginger says. Stomach makes deeper especially days freezing fields point spots simmering hearth. Warm drink rest spores cup hands. Heat spreads chest slow burning coal boy enters. Shivering red-faced guide. Sit follows explaining, coughing night, listens carefully. Palm forehead nods gathers bundle. Fine mint rafters crushes hens drops. Steaming bowl water, rises fragrant clouds, instructs breathe leans shoulders relax. Breath steadies, see warmth seeping lungs mother watches, anxiously relaxes softens. Rattle turns back says warm steady essential surviving medieval writings cold air. Believed we can spirit cloud mind person inhaled troubled, unsettling warming herbs. Thick drink serve physical spiritual move shelf. Pulls small thin brittle parchment. Flips pages faint ink drawings plant stores diagrams bodies tells healers regions. Theories warmth balance believed heart. Rose stomach taps page explains thought. Scholars discuss households interpreted ways herbs warm breath, applied cloths. Change diet sharp closes book brings clay bowl strange mixture. Crushed berries. Honey dips finger places, dab tongue taste, sweet medicinal blend calming insomnia. Soft mind withstand tells families add warm mixture, thick soothing speaks notice. Clave essel hearth filled hearts and presses slowly explains heated retains longer. Stones water wrapped cloth placed feet helps children faster shows cloth bundles. Prepared families pick tomorrow morning. Bundle smells, sage pauses shares fragment. Winter lob asked mother said warm stomach invites peaceful dreams cold invites. Wonder idea scientific feels rooted body, seeking comfort quiet hours earlier yawns. Coughing mother thanks deep relief wrapping cloak leaving quietly watches face. Turns says winter turns healer's guardian's body spirit laughs, softly sleeps little. Coldest needs drink cloth soaked herbs. Sits adds detail, healers debate among today. Some argue medieval remedies, simple observation instinct believe influenced. Classical theory balancing humors shrugs whatever truth matters, survived families. Winter passes hands item before leave tiny cloth pouch filled rosemary dried apple. Heel tills hold chest. Sleeping scent remembers summer heart mile pockets pouch. Stands slowly step outside closes gently sweeps, carries faint promised herbs inside. Breathe letting scents mingle turn toward next path, ready discover long darkness. Shapes dreams fears quiet medieval mind, leave pouch warming palm scent clinging. Fingers soft memory summer great, instantly brushing cheeks, sharp sting exhale. Vapor drift thin ghostly ribbons, nearly silent chimney steady plumes banked window. Moon icy company follow narrow curves behind several houses then revealing. Meadow row fences blankets transforming pale silent, see distant tree line jag. Silhouettes kist, an open strange feeling settles watching waiting stillness invites. Ignore daylight heighten imagination world lanterns, street lights darkness character. Follow toward faint pulsing heartbeat. Expect warmth there grown fire completely died. Weekember glows tired beneath family lies thick breaths rising clouds person. Awake teenage sits near wrapped shawl staring shuttered wide and blinking nearly. Startles step quietly relaxes gestures join whispers cannot cold winter nights bring. Strange hugs knees whispers dreams feel different heavier slower vivid frost. Touches mind, touches earths, it beside listen tells dreamed earlier walking hearing. Footsteps, though walked distant voices calling thick mist frighten them every. Grandmother used to call wandering's mind leans closer quietly village believe winter. Dreams darkness slipping cracks night fire grows bold walk room visitors points. Shutter frost curls edges forming delicate branching says people believe carries. Stories shaping seas as sleep mother suddenly stirs mutters carefully explaining. Talk becomes common nights grow brutally expression takes moments seriously. Father lies far side brow furrows trapped dream says wolves frightening silent. Standing snow staring though delivering message. Dreams summer frost covers fields. Turns earnest intensity. Idea murmured older villagers long thought. Open thin space. Waking world dreams dangerous permeable place. Old memories fears hope. Drifted freely modern minds call imagination medieval cold vision get surges follow. Tiptoes opposite corner. Lift small wooden shelf inside tiny objects pebbles dried. Feathers, 2 shells, tiny carved wooden bird items help sleep winter grow vivid. Places object pebbles, grounding herbs coming shells, listening quiet feathers lifting. Whether belief symbolic practical sense, serve purpose warm blanket soothing drink. Died icy hours takes wooden explains grandmother carved meant God dreamed. Chasing visions laws gentle encouraging thought, springtime warm presses chest. Inhales sets pillow notice beast parchment tucked in fold pride contains faint. Handwriting describing interpretations points line. Wandering snow symbolizes feeling. Unprepared future speaks. Hearing voices seeking company. Long loneliness recognize. Combinations tradition emotional insight. Reads mentions topic fascinates study. Folklore rural communities believe dreams sharper winter spirits people slept longer. Darkness giving time wonder says grandmother believed, simply mind grew tired cold. Silence finds strangely poetic faint noise outside interrupts branch snaps wait. Gathering freezes staring expecting sound laughs, softly embarrassed, made jumpy. Returns lifts thick invites feel cold become fire slipped beneath heavy chilly whispers. Cold moment dawn turned Arcus grandmother called Otis spirit curls beneath. Whispering coming words grandmother taught simple phrases, settle spells charms. Settle pat space pillow rests, sit minutes while fills soft creaking adjusting eyes. Droop yawns gradually lengthening, slow even herb filled lungs drift hopefully. Gentler time glance frost patterns shut a shimmer branch vein, almost understand. Imagined carrying step outside clamps, immediately sky glows preed on light close. Moment breathing silence preparing listen next hidden sounds cradle village morning. Remain moment pred glow letting trace line spine around half asleep half listening. Soundscape thin brittle echoing slow breath. A long narrow lane time guided warm. Strange noises drift frozen quiet enough. He reproach pause longer silent here now. Creak groan crackle slowly tearing closer. Wooden fence sound sharp and complaining. Titans shrinking reshaping speak. Long tired moans touch surface feels rigid drop. Moisture plank. Turn to continue listening. Carefully reveals details usually miss. Boots crunch with them almost crystalline shattering compressing step louder thin air. Metallic tilt weight another soft tapping near. By roof icicles breaking striking round. Tiny crystalline sea links opens quietly ahead wrapped cloak holding small stick test. Notices waves closer breath, puffs bloom smoke like listen before sounds tell. Sight wave follows gestures towards side points beam supporting roof creak steadily. Expanding contracting cold places hand, against would feel faint vibrations though. Alive adjusting carefully survive explains villagers recognize difference normal. Dangerous kind sound almost cough sharp sudden signaling slipped boards beam. Crack father taught wake instantly his fierce laugh softly children claim speak. Personalities insist, left complains loudly right roof groans lonely bring warmth. Leads behind path narrows, he rhythmic scraping noise takes a moment to recognize. Huddled goats inside shed shift, sleep dragging hooves strawustles, steady whisper. Warm's breath fog slats wall explains, oft unlistened sound, no animals safe full. Silent check, gust wind sweeps. Suddenly carries lonely whistle snakes cottages. Rises falls, sad flute, closes listen says, winds arrive stories bring warning storm. My weather behind claims tell different speech whistle admits simply imagining. Patterns many walks main lane crows overhead cooled sharp hollow echoes strangely. Bouncing invisible walls tells animals behave differently crows quieter. Dogs bark barely horses, stamp feet feel blood-warming invite inside wife sits dim. Hearth holds hands weak light listening intently tells always heard winter darkness. Summer claims amplify strips background noise faintest whisper clear speaks. Notice outside distant crack deep present couple pause stare window listens. Relaxes river freezing deeply thickening expands splits creating echoes travel. Across village muted thunder imagined are quinding beyond slowly turning solid. Calling night smiles tells another sound listen frost cracking thatched truth's dawn. Begins faintly soft prick noise turning chorus tiny cracks sunlight begins brush edges. Calls morning applause imagine, waking knowing whether comforted unsettled asks. Step near, this patterns shiver slightly small vibration passes wall explains itself. Make noise temperatures drop sharply crystals expand, suddenly creating faint. Popping sounds blend air tiny size husband bench points low shelf hearth wooden. Sits filled dried beans. Says certain nights beans pops lightly heat dry air pulling. Jokes sound startled visiting cousin thought spirits. Entered laugh softly something. Reaches ears faint scratching. Coming above glance. Upward explains likely dormouse. Winter bird fluttering rafters winter creatures. Search warmth mice birds move closer. Human homes sound gentle barely noticeable unless silent tonight sounds tiny. Heartbeat shares detail often discussed winter stories villagers believe certain. Carry messages crack distant tree branch foretell storms sudden silent animals hint. Approaching danger hum wind, door signal change where the morning beliefs weave. Practical awareness imagination helping feel connected, rather threatened first pale. Touches edges frost covered step outside, grown colder dawn squeezes last warmth. World giving back thin cracking rises roof surround woman, right frost waking sun. Breaking gently shards glass close listen wind wood animals water ice breathing. Households speak understand language exhale, letting soundscape fade begin. Walking sensing next cottage happens becomes cold rituals tricks scene leave couple. Behind stepping thinning dawn close deepens wishes make final turns heavy mist. Grows shade lighter, sharp follow narrow dips between leads lowest part settles. Particular cruelty clings thick layers footsteps echo, sharply frozen brittle notice. Chimney shutters tightly thin crust framed, or inside feels, still step closer lift. Gently slip dark except faintest grey light slipping door icy condensation breath. Drifts slowly floor hearth, dyed completely glow ashes. Inside lies awake bundled. Blankets thick layered mounds fabric. Rather faces peak red noses trembling chins. Whispers greeting voice weak shivering explains windstorm killed before bank. Smoke blue chimney forcing. Let flames plan ray light dawn overwhelmed sea effort. Takes speak word escapes cloud husband lifts head teeth chattering tries smile tells. Fails families turn whatever gathered every owned covered shutters spare stuffed. Gaps door kept children pressed close night kneel bundled, he trade steals. Quickly younger speaks blanket cheeks pale lips tinted holds, small wool glove hand. Clutching talisman sister rests rubbing together covers keep stiffening shifts reveals. Clager wrapped tightly pulls layer shows warm coals, inside glow faintly brighter. Fireflies raise eyebrows, surprised still emit explains husband, kept few alive jaw. Protecting metal lid layers enough, he true enough. Help pray light bodies bare. Small emberge a feels last defense claimed father admits, almost dropped hands. Grew laughs weak he never felt terrified losing single handful pulls closer shares. Detail many whisper harsh veils becomes something alive metaphorically. Perception for sprouts, house-seeking weak places moves floor invisible fog. Creeping blankets settling chests, its heavy patient testing resolve feel wave. Washroom, even creaking softened weight. Says nights make reconsider habit place. Gather store stones hearth area forgotten broken control moves hand towards stool. Lies flat cloth unwrapped slowly touches fingers cold earlier night held enough comfort. Little heated before storm shut chimney places backside confessors quietly dies. Completely fear grows faster frost fear and children wake enough move forms. Blankets breath shallow moments feel impossibly glance shuttered spread. Forming thick white lines veins hums softly behind points dark patch bottom seeps. Inside stuffed gap hours ago forced loose repair light grows stronger voice cracks. Speaks exhausted older speaks softly beneath kept puppy tucked covers night stay. Wriggle free hid table look shape curled tight ball shivering. Gently scoop return. Wraps hold close nods gratefully explains animals panic. Disappears sense change. Air puppy felt temperature drop quickly remain reaches small box beside inside dried. Herbs crushes fingers brings nose breathing deeply herbs warm body calm mind. Helping focus enough. Keep reassured becomes important numbness spreads quickly. Limbs suddenly remarks something scholars analyze villaged a bait family's backup. Embers believe always jar ready say certain households maintain habits leaving. Vulnerable storms shrugs weakly knows father taught save losing many early helps. Move closer hearth watches hopeful eyes hands. Bundle dried twigs gestures weakly. Try ray lighting lean open carefully place. Single glowing center small nest kindling. Glow gently brighten spark another begin glow tip small rises trembling newborn. Uncertain strength gasp quietly strengthens and another thicker soon flickers hearth. Pushing breath time warm light spills across faces shoulders loosen widen relief. Puppy wriggles a thicker stick, grows brighter stronger father bows exhales. Releasing weight, carried mother whisper quiet thank, older rests head brother. Crackles gathers slowly fog dissolving stay feel temperature lifts frost shutters melt. Tiny droplets stand nod step on softened warmth follows fire memory flame reborn. Darkest hour walk rising sun ready witness morning looks world survived coldest. Step away, fire reborn first pale hint stretch horizon thin strokes faded gold sky. Feels solid sheet irons offen's edges brushing frozen air. Still enough sting inside. Changed inhale taste gentle breeze past surviving medieval carried quiet triumph. Spoke aloud walk slowly stirs cracks softly harsh bite faded rises chimneys coax. Muffled voices rustle folded clatter spoons wood unbowls routines resume steady. Stop beside steps outside rubbing arms briskly breath fogs yawns tails dawn brutal. Feels opening book fear dread laughs softly disappears back wait continue until. Reach leading small pasture handful cows clustered fence breaths rising slow puffs. Stable approaches bucket hands steps heavy exhaustion tells spent half watch newborn. Calf survived says kept pressed warmth mother flank beans pride animals people. Great survivors move reach, shutter slightly jar inside elderly sits newly lit wrap. Cups fingers trembling age morning, chill watch steam rise drinks lean together. Sharing small pocket glances nod satisfaction. Someone seen many knows quiet. Power across lane child open steps, dragging wool blanket cape cheeks pink sleep. Squints cold morning, calls back before frost bites stern's waves shyly tiny gesture. Carries uncomplicated joy waking safe day walk father notice villagers emerging. One's 'tis moving slowly stand doorways moment, breathing stretch, stiff ribbed shoulders. Simply lean door frame grateful behind bodies tired eyes carry shadows cold dreams. Restless hours sun weak touches face promise come blacksmith trudges forge. Wrapped layers leather says lights early mornings neighbors warm fail gestures door. Deep shared work important tools. Sense quiet pride words continue toward edge. Slopes gently downward see full stretch fields, covered rising glints frozen surface. Turning silver view breathtaking stillness world, sculpted overnight, cold hands slowly. Waking distance, monk walking road, wrapped tightly robed sandals, crunch heading. Monastery prayer, calm serene despite, stillness reminds dormitory visited discipline. Shaped hardship moves quiet purpose, head back center notice group travelers. Preparing horses outside stamp clap laugh weekly adjust cloaks man, lifts clay fire pot. Snow holds tiny warmth inside, grin says kept alive others not knowingly mount. Ready continue journey, middle lane farmer clears doorstep, pauses long enough greet. Hardest convincing body, move lying stiff blankets chuckles flexes fingers movement. Hurt stirs life limbs, smile worn content notice frost beginning melt shutters thin. Droplets run tiny trails glistening sound water, slowly dripping adds gentle rhythm. Sigh release world passes cottage inside crackles loudly woman lifts span porridge. Stirs determination cross-legged floor, rubbing arms chase, last shivers smell warm. Oats drifts open doorway hear humming tune soft steady comforting walk feels subtle. Shift body still nip skin fear deepest gone feels, safer sun begun slow climb move. Last rise overlooking village, see smoke rising chimney banners victory night stand. Crest slope watch breathe frost glitters roof light spills window imagine thousands. Winter mornings looked exactly across medieval England arriving soft blessing. Returning hearths waking relief close eyes let cold breeze brush past time take long. Ready leave behind stand edge morning light spreads frozen fields remain softer. Sharpness dulled calm certainty breathe, deeply letting air steady smooth breath. Flows tension gathered long begin melt little quiet settles chest warm ash picture. Behind every curry small flame flickering gently tuck warm breakfast stretch. Limbs pack bundles comma hearts huddle sheltered corners, steam rising breaths. Happening slowly softly world waking tiptoe thoughts soften morning drift thin. Threads rising pale sky feels shoulders loosened, or lax chill fade hands imagine. Pulling comforting blanket sheen, lungs settle gentle, glow winter always. Test edges human strength, dawn comes rhythm soothe cold warmth darkness light. Struggle rests, survive deepest part remains calm breath, slow thoughts quiet body. Sink warm bed cold journey softly over morning gentle hands.